What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going, Healthy Warrior Shaman?
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
It's Mars. It's Club. Sign on to Wrestling on the Rocks.
Huh.
That works.
Okay,
That's
maybe.
probably a better intro than we've ever had.
Where the? Graham, ask your question. You got a chance now.
That was slick. We got the clump. Gotta have that clump to clump. Not only do we got the clump, but today we got the Grim Reaper. Guys, I'm at Ref Marsh. This is Wrestling on the Rocks, where every show is our first show. That's right. Every episode is episode 1. We can't figure this out, as you can tell by our delightful intro. Yet again, Clump, say hi to yourself, and then pitch it to Grim.
My name's Crabby Clump. Grim, up to you.
Grim Reaper, 2185. Hello, team.
Reporting for duty.
Yes.
It just sounded like many a thing Marsh and I had been through together.
Oh, yeah.
Let's start.
Right.
Uh-oh. I don't like where this was going immediately.
All good, all good. Guys, I'm glad you guys are here with me. We do have Kevlar is absent today. I do want to just mention, with his lack of presence, his lack of ability to pitch the raffle that he wants to do. So, guys, there is going to be a raffle for Royal Rumble. You have to send a message either at him or DM him or Facebook message Wrestling on the Rocks show, Kevlar on the Rocks with an X to get involved in that raffle. It is free, and you do get 2 numbers. The first 30 people who enter will get 2 numbers, one for the men's rumble and one for the women's rumble. And if your number is the entrant that wins that rumble, you get a free t-shirt.
Now, real quick, Marsh, do I need to declare that I'm in the raffle, or do I have to get into a match in order to get into the raffle?
You have to declare, unless, if you've created a PowerPoint, I'll watch it.
It's not Drew Gulak approved, so I don't know.
Yeah. But it must be declared. You have to declare yourself entered into the raffle for the Rumble.
Okay. That works for me.
So, anyone listening, anybody watching, we're going to tweet about it eventually. I asked Kevlar if he could write just one fucking tweet. He said, I'll do it on Friday. He didn't do it on Friday. I asked him today. I was like, look, you're not even on the show today. Can you just write up one tweet that I can retweet about it? And he goes, if I don't do it tonight, I'll do it tomorrow. And I was like, it's a tweet. What are you doing? What are you prepping?
This is why I don't even mention his socials most of the time.
I just like he puts that much effort in. He's like, I don't want to half-ass this tweet. I imagine he sits down in front of a computer. He logs in appropriately. I imagine he has a drawer that comes out for his keyboard. He adjusts his glasses. He has a fine hat, and he sits in a proper chair, and he leans real forward as he starts to type his tweet.
Speaking of proper number 12.
Wow, what a transition. All right, sorry, guys. I can't pitch our free raffle anymore. Producer has demanded I move along to talk about what's in your glass. What's in my glass? I've got proper number 12. Proper number 12. And I do have coffee.
Grim's like,
Yeah.
Cool.
I need coffee. I got coffee and proper coffee, as I call it. Proper coffee. But that's me. Graham, what are you doing? What are you drinking? What's in your glass?
Rocking the old Celts tonight. Some flavored Celts to have a good night. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, flavor. So what's the flavor?
Seltzer.
Oh, nice little blackberry tangerine.
Ooh,
That sounds
berry and citrus.
peculiar.
It is very good.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I quit.
Clump's like easily worst episode 1 yet.
Yeah. Puns were like in my rider. We don't have puns on this.
This was in the contract, god damn it.
Clearly you don't understand contracts.
What brand, real quick? Because there's a lot of sparkling waters and seltzers and stuff, and I actually really like them, and I even like the alcoholic ones. I'm assuming yours is a non-alcoholic one, correct?
It is today. It's actually from I don't know if you guys have this out here. Wegmans.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
We don't have it out here, but it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Store-bought seltzer. I was gonna say store-bought seltzer can sneak up on you.
Mm-hmm. For sure, absolutely. And I just wanted to throw that out there because, like I've been saying for a long time, it's not what you drink, it's who you're drinking with. And Clump being one of our premier most non-alcoholic drinkers, he might be curious as to what seltzer you're having because he might want to try one on a future show. But Wegmans is not in our area, so he won't be able to have it, but he's going to look at it from afar. Clump, what's in your glass?
I have a bunch of half and half with a tiny bit of coffee. My stomach's very happy. Yes.
I like that you drink ice cream and call it coffee.
There's no sugar in it. It's just. I wish it were ice cream.
You're like just flavored whipping cream.
There had been times I've ordered it and I've been like, okay, this. I know I like extra cream in my coffee, but go fuck yourself. This is hilarious. Like, I've gotten it. I'm like, this is like the lightest shade of khaki pants. Like. like it's a pair of white Dockers that you pooped in and washed. They're just slightly brown now.
How did we already
There's
get
like a
here?
fade that's still left, you know?
Yeah.
So wait, I mean that means you had to put like a chocolate on top. Like, how else are you gonna have a streak?
Exactly.
I don't know. This isn't good news. This is bad
Producer
news.
is drinking coffee.
I call it a Midwest racing stripe.
Well, speaking of news,
Forget it.
did maybe want to touch on a couple of things. So myself, I am a big baseball fan. So huge Yankees fan. You know, I'm originally from New York, so I love the team. Saw an article that Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball, actually says that he would want crowds in attendance for baseball, and that spring training and regular season would be starting at the regular time at the beginning of April. Well, Tropicana Field hosts the Tampa Bay Rays, and according to their schedule, they should be having some home games coming up in those first 2 weeks of April. So big news in terms of the location of the Thunderdome and what's going to happen with the location of where WWE is going to go essentially around or after WrestleMania. So that's something to think about a few months out.
Yeah. Is that the only stadium out there? I thought that was the football stadium. Do they play in the same stadium as football?
Oh, so Tropicana Field is the home to the Rays because it has the dome where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers play at Raymond James Stadium where they were supposed to have WrestleMania last year.
That's my confusion. So this one doesn't have a boat.
No.
No boat. Gotcha.
I feel you'll be very disappointed if you classify your stadiums by whether or not they have a boat.
I do. The best ones have boats.
The best one.
The best ones have boats and hose. Boats and hose.
The best one has boats.
On the same topic, producer, what's in your glass? We never got to ask because Grim Reaper just wanted to go straight into baseball.
Very excited.
What an
Very excited.
Yeah, I already had a sentence halfway through, and y'all just ran over me.
What are you drinking?
I am drinking some coffee with squirrel peanut butter whiskey. It's delicious.
It does sound delicious.
Sounds really good.
Sounds really good. Also delicious. Just in time. 211 in our chat. Thank you for coming through, Justin. Cheers to you. I did not see you, but we had to talk baseball.
Always
in
connecting.
In my mind, if baseball thinks they're going to play a game that anyone's going to give a shit about in Florida, then you just move the Thunderdome to the boat stadium. They've now proven they can put that dome wherever they want it, the Thunderdome. And we don't know what's going on. There's vaccines out. I'm not saying we're going to have fans by WrestleMania, but we may have a different setup by WrestleMania because they might be leaking fans in at that point. Who's to say it's not in something that's a little bit more like the Capitol Wrestling Center or something of the like, where there's some, but still dome-ish. Don't know. I think the dome is what it is, and we're going to have that for quite some time, to be honest. But I do think the idea of baseballers trying to baseball is not going to get in the way of my goddamn wrestling. Go ahead, Clump.
Yeah. I mean, theoretically, the ability for them to just make it crazy and wild, I think it'd be awesome if they took over the studio that TNA used to do their shows in.
So funny.
And just did it up like, at Universal! You just see someone like, Jeff Jarrett, motherfucker.
Jeff Jarrett's like, I still have a key, guys. I mean,
That's great.
So did Pritchard. That's how we got here.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's they both work there still. So yeah, light it up. Leah Moonlight coming through the chat too. Leah, very nice to see you. Thank you for coming in and having a drink with us.
Hello.
Howdy.
Cheers to you. Anybody listening on a podcast, we do stream live on twitch.tv/wrestling on the rocks, where you can jump in the chat and derail our show, much the same as Grim Reaper has done from within. The attacks are an inside job when it comes to Grim Reaper derailing our show at this point.
I don't know if like conspiracy theories involving our government right now are a good idea.
I have never been bothered by treason. Everybody knows this about me. I've said it for a long time. What?
My
What?
favorite executable federal event's treason.
Yeah. Was it in Arrested Development? They were like, that dude got arrested. It's like, I may have committed light treason. That was like one of the best jokes in the show. Like, he was so good. So, yeah. Anyhow, Grim, that's what I think about the baseball studios. What are you thinking? Do you think that they work around the Rays, or do you think they go to the Boat Stadium or take over TNA?
For me, I think it's going to be that they would have to go into a building or a dome, because in order for the Thunderdome to work with the lights and the pyro and all like this, I think just the way that we've been introduced to the setup, or at least how we're used to the setup, it would have to be some kind of enclosed building, some sort. I do believe they would have to move unless Tampa is playing your games in another spot. But as far as I know, they should still be in that stadium. But I've just kind of put two and two together. I'm sure they're already thinking about it. But
Yeah.
if the Rays are playing in their stadium, WWE is going to have to move.
Yeah, but
Or
I don't
will
think
they?
you don't. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
wrestling wins every
They
time,
got
to
it.
be honest.
Yeah.
In my mind. Can you imagine, though?
yeah,
I mean, with all the stuff that WWE's had to change up, can you imagine if baseball was just all like, oh, yeah, we're not going to do these home games? Matter of fact, Tampa's home games are going to be in North Carolina this year because of wrestling. I'd be like, fuck yes, we win.
I mean, if they did that, literally, I think every game would be in Phoenix, because that's where like 90% of the team's spring training is in Phoenix.
Good point.
Yeah.
Well, then
Yeah,
it's everyone's home game then.
They have half spring trainings in Arizona, and the other half is in Florida.
Oh.
Yeah.
They got you there, Clump.
Hot and wet versus hot and dry.
He got you there.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I think. I like the idea of it, but I guess we'll see how it plays out, because I definitely don't think that we're not getting wrestling. I think wrestling wins every time. I think we've shown that. I think when everything was shutting down and everybody I was working with was saying, oh, you're not going to get WrestleMania, I said, you guys are stupid. You've got your head up your ass. WrestleMania is literally the showcase of immortals. There's no way we don't get WrestleMania mid-COVID. And we got WrestleMania. So I think they're going to keep proving me right in that regard. I hate both of you. I hate you both.
Welcome.
L for love.
Guys, I think that's really great that you brought that up, because I didn't have any other news. Clump, did you have any other news?
I did. Nope.
Nope.
Oh, I wanted to throw a shout out to if you have not listened to the New Day pod, the New Day pod this week was pretty amazing.
I will see you and raise you one if you are interested in that New Day pod episode, which I'll let you go into, so you can describe it the way you want to. I would highly suggest, even if you have already listened to it, go and watch it on the WWE Network.
Yes.
There's a video version that cuts a bunch of clips and photos with it. But Clump, go ahead and pitch what you were pitching.
They actually have. So initially, I listened to it in the car, so Spotify, but they have it in its entirety on YouTube as well as on the network. Both are fun,
wow.
fantastic. One more time.
I said, oh wow, I didn't realize it was on YouTube.
Yeah, both are fantastic. It is, it's exactly what I love about the New Day podcast. It was a different pace. It was just wrestlers, not necessarily old timers, telling the stories that we hear and we love, but hearing them come from people who are currently working, it was amazing. And they had the New Day, so Big E, Kofi, Woods, and then they had Cesaro, Eric Rowan, and Tyler Breeze, and they were all talking about John Huber, and about his life, his impact on wrestling, and it was very hard, very interesting, very sweet, very funny. Overall, one of my favorite podcasts I've listened to in a long time. And if you're a fan of wrestling, especially if you're a fan of Brody Lee, Luke Harper, please listen to it. If you're a fan of anyone in this industry, it's fantastic. Do listen to it.
That's awesome.
Producer had something she wanted to say about it. Oh,
I was really surprised at how much it made me laugh rather than cry. As sad as it is, I mean, all of them just shared such great and sweet stories that it was just really nice. And I mean, I guess that's the most you can really hope for in this tragedy. So.
Yeah, for sure. I thought they did an awesome job with it. I loved that they got, ultimately permission to have Eric Redbeard, as he's known on the indies, Eric Rowan, as we knew him in WWE, but Eric Rudd, I believe, was his name on the show, because he's not with the company. Joe Rudd. Yeah. But he's not with the company, so they didn't have to let him go on their network to do the show. Now, that's not to say they don't allow other things, right? Because Davey Boy Smith Jr., obviously he was in a couple little snippet things for documentaries about his dad, the British Bulldog, here and there. So I do think that there is obviously room there, but I'm really happy that they were able to get him for the entirety of that and just let it be there. I also think, and I'll pitch it to Grim and see how he's feeling about it. I don't know if he's seen it yet. I really like this way of doing it, because the one thing that none of us wanted, but we all felt was looming, because the internet wrestling community can be such shit at times. The last thing we wanted was some sort of comparison of numbers and who wins and who loses with something like giving a tribute to somebody who was so impactful to his friends and family. So what I like about this, I like a lot that WWE just let AEW do all of what they wanted to do and have all the network TV to do it. And they just kind of quietly posted their stuff digitally. I like that their stuff's on the digital platform. I like that they have the podcast platform. They just put up another special today. They've allowed all of their talent to speak on behalf of John Huber, or not behalf, but you know what I mean, and give their tributes and put together collections in honor of him. And I think that's fantastic, because, yes, now we're not going to get some stupid who did it better or who got more views, or like that shit's irrelevant. And I love that the people who are making the decisions on both sides have allowed that to remain irrelevant here. I love it. I think both companies are doing a good job with that, if that makes sense.
Well, I think, and I'll throw this to Amanda, John's wife, as well as Big E. They've both been really big on pushing the idea of this community pressing beyond one company. They were both, Amanda had an amazing post about it, and then Big E and Kofi as well through the podcast. Kofi, I loved how he talked about watching Brody in the main event on AEW with his family, and I was like, that's fucking awesome. And that to me, it made me so happy. It also made me excited, because if we can get past all the bullshit and do things like this, that's something that we should all take away is this is a community. It doesn't matter what team you work on, you're part of this, you care about each other, and we just want to have a good time watching matches, a good time performing matches, and doing the best we can and seeing the best we can. So we should always want everyone to succeed. The best product leads to the best competitors, which leads ultimately to the best show for all of us.
Yeah, yeah. Graham, was there anything you wanted to say about the podcast? I don't know if you had a chance to see it or not.
Didn't get to see it. It's in the queue, ready to go. So I'll make sure that's a must-watch them this week. And then, Clump, excellent point in terms of bringing in the brotherhood, the sisterhood of wrestling. John Huber touched so many lives in terms of everyone he's worked with from day one to his final days. And then just revolving around the message of family, which identifies with everybody. So that's awesome. And then also, Marsh, what you were just saying in regards to each company maximized their medium per se. AEW just has the TV show essentially, and maybe like a Jericho pod or something like that. But WWE has the network and a vast array of podcasts and just pretty much all the big guns, if you will, that way. So you're exactly right. It wasn't a who did it better. It was just everyone kind of just covered the entire medium, if you will, just covering the life of John Huber and just kind of all coming together for him.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I love it. On that note, Justin Time is in the chat. He did send us some bits and said raise them up, so I think that's a good reason to cheers. I think this New Day pod is a good reason to cheers as well. Like Clump said, if you haven't heard it, I suggest you watch it because they did a great job of cutting in those things. If you don't have the network, it sounds like it's on YouTube. If you just prefer to hear podcasts in your ear, then just listen to it as well. But definitely take it in however you can. Cheers.
Cheers.
Actually, I got a picture pulled up of Woods on rocks. I was scrolling through some stuff, and he was upside down with the horn. Yeah. I didn't realize he got a giant G4 logo on his gear right now. So dope. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's all good. I didn't have any other news. We'll get to that. Yeah. Graham, did you have any other news?
Well, just speaking of the New Day, just finding out yesterday that apparently Kofi is on the bench for a little while. Yeah. Apparently he has an injury, something like that.
Oh, man.
So it's just going to be Xavier Woods just chilling on his own, representing the New Day for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. I guess we see what they do with that. I hope that they do an actual King of the Ring tournament and let Xavier Woods just go fucking nuts on it. But that's me. Guys, I'm ready to get into the shows if you are.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's get to SmackDown. That's where we start our week is SmackDown Fridays. Gives Clump more time to watch it throughout the weekend. Yep. Which is not, never mind.
Hey, no.
Guys, let's see. So SmackDown had a gauntlet match that took up the majority of the show. As far as that, there was 3 other matches and a few backstage segments.
Yeah.
I don't know where you guys want to start with it. The show opened up with Roman, did it not?
Yes, it
did. Fantastic promo as always. I really liked this promo because it felt not only was he unhinged and a heel, but almost kind of relatable. When he was going into and saying, getting angry and upset and talking about his family, you felt like you could believe his justification. It wasn't selfish. It wasn't. It didn't seem like somebody selfishly at the helm. It felt like somebody who is like a mad king,
Yes.
And that was really awesome. And I thought the way that he presented it, the way that he got so angry and he put his hand on Pierce and then was stopped, I was like, that's fantastic.
Yeah, no, I loved it. And Adam Pearce was way out of line, being super disrespectful to Roman the whole time, saying Vince was stupid. It was crazy with the stuff that Adam Pearce was saying. just really felt like Roman did the right thing and stepped up and stood up for the people who needed it the most, right?
Yes.
That's how it went. Dude, I thought this was awesome. This was so good. Yeah, because like you said, it made him look like the Mad King. He's like throwing words in Adam Pearce's mouth and getting all upset with him, getting in his face. And you knew something was coming because the way he was all like, never mind, we'll do this a different way sort of an attitude. Grim, what'd you think?
Just like Roman's getting better each day in terms of like since SummerSlam onward has just been awesome. I mean, just by him just milking the entrance, going slower than before when he still had the vest on. Slow walk, taking his time, standing in the ring, looking amongst the Thunderdome, and just waiting a minute before he put his mic up, and I think we talk about how Paul Heyman is just out of this world with talking smack and promos and all of that, but just his interaction with Reigns just makes it so good. And I think it's even, I don't know if it's because it's a refreshed perspective, but even more so than with Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. Like, I think that there's just a more of a natural flow between how they work together, about how Heyman and Reigns work together. I remember Roman's like, Adam Pearce, you're blaming me. He turns to Paul, they're blaming me. Like that quick, Paul, like, what the heck, man? Like, just, and then the one part too, where Heyman's like, when they're asking for Adam Pearce to come out, Heyman turns over and he says, no, the tribal chief needs Adam Pearce here now. His presence is required. Like, he was talking to the stagehand back there, and just like, kind of like, just, no, he needs this. He wants this now. Like, you have to do this now. So just that dynamic of Heyman and Reigns has just been awesome.
Oh, yeah. So good. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Heyman's over on the side being like, Roman's requesting him now. Get him out here now. He's like, it's not me. I didn't say it. Roman. Like what could literally be more important in this entire world than whatever Roman Reigns wants, which is so good. And I think we get more of that as we go. I do want to get into where I kind of think the story is, but I think that's really for the main event to really talk about where it truly goes. But I loved it. Yeah, I think it's great. I think they're all of them are next level performers right now. I liked also where Roman's getting in his face and Paul Heyman's all like, just my advice. Like telling him not to. He's like, but do whatever you want. He's like, but my advice, I think maybe this isn't the right move, but you whatever you decide will be the right move. You know what I mean? It's like, he was so funny. He's like such a little shit eater. Let's see. Kevin Owens wasn't on the show because they say he got beat up too bad, which I kind of dig that because that means when he comes back, it's going to be dope. But we could talk real quick about the other two matches and then get into the main event. I think SmackDown was kind of an easy one to get through because, I mean, the Gauntlet match just took up a good chunk and was so good. I do want to say this before we talk about the Intercontinental Championship match. I did see a lot of people complain because on this show, it opened up with Roman and Adam Pearce. There was the Intercontinental Championship match, Big E versus Apollo Crews, the SmackDown Tag Championship match with Street Profits and the Dirty Dogs, and then the Gauntlet match. And people I saw online were very upset there was no women's matches, which I understand because the women do put on great performances. But I also think that we shouldn't completely ignore the fact that the women still got a good chunk of screen time for something that was otherwise over halfway booked by one storyline, right? So we still got Bianca and Bayley having their interaction, which, by the way, their chemistry together is so fucking good. It's surprising me every time I see something else.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with that. I like
their facial expressions at each other is so funny. Go ahead, Clem.
No, and I like, again, like I've said this a lot with particularly like the women's division. It's a great way to build a story not around a title because their connection, like, it can be a match within a match at the Royal Rumble and it'll be amazing. I hope to see them be the final two and have a long last match.
Yeah. Now I've seen a discussion online where people are debating on whether Bianca and Bayley should be the first two or the last two. And how fucking cool is that they've had enough interactions together that the story going into Royal Rumble is what are Bayley and Bianca going to do in their interaction in the Rumble? Like you
Maybe
said, how
combine
do you
it.
build a story away from a championship? And like we've been saying for a while, the idea that Bayley could potentially at this point be bigger than a championship. She's so well established at this point. Yeah, now her story is the Rumble. And how cool is that the Rumble has a story for women? You know what I mean? Go ahead, Grim.
And that's actually, so Marsh, take your 2 points, put them together. Let them be the first two and the last two.
Oh, shit.
Like, go through the entire match, throwing people over the rope, being involved in everything, and then they start and they end it. That would be epic.
Hell yeah.
Dude, that would, because that also would be... That happened once, right? What was it, British Bulldog and HBK? Weren't they 1 and 2 and the last two? The one where Sean was the first and the last. There was one where Sean was, I believe, if I remember correctly. I want to say it was like 92 or 3 or something like that. But if that's true, like I just think about the idea of Bayley and Bianca, that would be so cool because then you've got both of them kind of contesting for being the Iron Woman of the match, and then they could even be fighting over, well, I eliminated this many people, I eliminated that many people, and then when you get to the end, you'd have people torn. Do you want Bianca to go or do you want Bayley to go? I think that'd be sick. I think it'd be so good. But
And actually, you are absolutely right, Marsh. It was the 1995 Rumble. Michaels and Bulldog started and ended the match.
ooh, I was off by the year, but I was right about the thing.
Oh, yeah.
I watch a lot of Royal Rumbles.
Same. Like, they're one of those like things I'll put on like as I'm falling asleep and just like this is nice. Like it relaxes me in a weird way.
It's one of the easiest things you can put on the network for if you're doing other things, but you just kind of want to watch wrestling. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
Right.
There's a lot of times where I just like, I kind of want to watch something wrestling, but I don't really want to sit down and focus on a documentary. I kind of don't want to do this or that. I don't want to like put on like the greatest matches of Rey Mysterio. I feel like I'm going to miss too much. But then you go, you know what? I'll just put on Royal Rumble 99. And then you just kind of let it play out. And you're just like, oh, yeah. Because you
Same
look
with
up and
table
down
for Same with Table for 3. That was a really
Yes.
good like.
Yeah. Really good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. But on the same point, so Bayley and Bianca have their story building, and they did a good job building that. Carmelo is talking some shit on Sasha, which was good. I mean, I think Carmelo's doing awesome right now with the promo work. Producer has something to say she want to say about. Go ahead, producer.
I was seeing online that some women are still getting pretty upset at the fact that Carmella still has a man in her storyline, albeit her character is totally different.
Yeah.
How are we feeling the same as we felt about this man? Because to me, I feel like she could dump him at any time. So I don't feel like she's tied to him in the same way that she was with the others.
Yeah, I don't feel like her
Yeah.
losing him would be anything. I feel like he's completely subservient to her, and I feel like even to her character, he's disposable. So I don't have a problem with it because of that. I think. Clump, what do you think?
I agree. I feel better with this one than other iterations. I mean, part of me, I agree in that I don't think she needs him and he can go away at any time. But then that kind of frustrates me because I think then why for is he here?
But that's
You
just
know,
it. That's
like-
what makes it dynamic. Is she doesn't need him. She just likes the idea of that necessarily, right? Which makes him the subservient one. That's what makes her come off as bigger. Then is like, oh, I just use him because I can. It's not. I not only do I not need him, but like I super don't need him. Like he's just there because
Not on
Because-
doing not him. I
Right.
super don't need him.
yeah,
I don't know why.
Yeah, yeah.
Just-
100%.
Help
Graham, go
me
ahead.
help me get my champagne. Like that's pretty much, and she's glamorous. She's in it. She's and it's totally different dynamic when she was with Enzo and Cass, like where she was the cheerleader and she was with it, with NXT. So like totally different dynamic. She's her own character, her own person. And again, I follow what you're saying. Again, Reginald's totally disposable. Just she doesn't need him. Doesn't need him at all. But it does add to the persona or the aura of her character.
Yeah, and there's a big difference between having a chinless wonder help you win a match and having a Reginald servant make sure that your champagne is ready when your match is over. Those are two completely different finishes,
See.
as it were.
True.
Wink, baddragon.com. Producer?
I was also wondering. Whoa. No. Yeah, I was wondering if maybe she just prefers having another person to bounce off of, just creatively. Because when I look at her career, yeah, she has had men in her storylines, but I don't know. Maybe that's just easier for her to express the character.
I could see that. Some sort of performance codependency there, where it's all like, hey, I don't like talking to nothing. So if I could talk to somebody in some way, it helps. Like, I can see that. I don't know if that's the case or not, but I can see that. I can respect that. Justin Time in the chat says he's honestly less annoying than James Ellsworth, and I agree. I think that I actually like Reginald as a character because he's gotten his ass whooped a couple times by Sasha, and he's also done a bunch of backflips. So he's such an interesting character in that regard. Like, why is he being so subservient to Carmella? Why is he just sommelier, as they say, which he's not? But why is he doing that when he's also apparently hella athletic? So I think that actually makes his character more interesting. But we'll see where it goes down the line. I think that he also comes off interesting enough to where I think once they break away, he's not going to be waste. You know what
I agree with that. Being interesting, like it's an interesting development, and an interesting dude.
Yeah, for sure. And then the other thing that happened with the women, we had Billie Kay trying to join the Riot Squad again, and we also had Sonya Deville be announced as working as a partner sort of in training with Adam Pearce. So we might be getting Sonya Deville as sort of a GM type role. I'm really excited about the idea of that. I think Sonya Deville is rocking those fucking suits. So much the same as we liked when Corbin was the constable, because he was just looking better, looking nice. I do kind of like the idea of Sonya coming out looking like fucking boss bitch every week. I think that's dope. But we'll see where it goes, because I also think she was next level. She had like raised her level in promo work right before she left. And if she's comfortable coming back, I'm excited to have her back. Grim, what do you think?
Yes, very happy that Sonya Deville's back in. Just from what happened a few months ago, there was no timetable of return, so now she's back in here. So awesome, very very happy to see Sonya. And then Billie Kay is just, she's been killing it with what she's given. You say that you have to work with what you got kind of deal. So the fact that she has the resume and the headshot, that this has been going on for months and months at this point, essentially that's giving her more of a dimension to her character rather than being in a tag team with Peyton. So it really just is kind of making her own character, making her own way essentially. And just an overall theme I'm seeing with the backstage segments tonight with the women for the show. You don't need the ring all the time to develop characters, right? I mean, you could, given 3-minute clips, 4-minute clips, even with the Riot Squad, and they're saying, oh, you're not going to join us, like the whole thing, just giving a character or giving like a relatability to them, kind of like what you were saying earlier, Clump, like giving more of a dimension to their character so we can connect a little bit more with them. So then when they are in the ring, oh, we want the Riot Squad to win, or, oh, no, we want Billie Kay to finally win something, or whatever the heck it is. So just, again, the backstage segments helped propel the characters forward, in my view.
100%. That whole segment with Bayley and Bianca, like I said, got the internet buzzing about the Royal Rumble and how's that going to play out. And like you said, what if it goes first two, last two? Yeah, give the two of them 3 minutes to the mic and a close-up shot of the camera. They're going to do enough facial expressions on there to tell you a good hour's worth of story. Grim, tell me what you think about this, because we were talking about it offline here with the Riot Squad. Have they lost a lot of steam to you? For me, I feel like that when they first got back together, I was much more excited than where they're at now, and they've really hit it out to me. And I actually think that, much like you were just saying, with you get 3 minutes in the backstage segment, do what you can with it. I feel like the last several backstage segments with Riot Squad have really almost removed my interest. I've become less invested with it. It seems like they've kind of regressed. Am I just way off base? Am I missing a thing here? What are you thinking, Grim?
I'm still riding the buzz of Liv's documentary from about a month ago at this point, in terms of her backstory and everything. So, and with it ending that they're back together again. Sarah Rose doing her own thing right now. Hopefully she'll be back sooner than later. But just looking at the both of them together, I think they're plateauing. I do agree with you on that. At least they're on TV though. They're on camera. Yeah. They're essentially, at least they're that way. Because how Liv talked about how she was in the back for like almost 6 months, 9 months. Yeah. We're gonna put her out there and to cancel her match and all that. So the fact that she's even on TV is good. And Clump, as you said earlier, it doesn't have to revolve around the title, right? It doesn't have to revolve around the title. We just have to make additional storylines for the women, just as like the men have additional storylines outside of the heavyweight title.
100%. I think that what's weird to me is that when I saw that Liv documentary, I was so fired up for Liv. But something about this weird sort of Leave It to Beaver, big sister, little sister kind of vibe I'm getting off of Liv and Riot now has almost made them seem to me, which I'm going to become defensive about immediately. It's making them as characters feel complacent, like they're just goofing and not taking anything seriously, and we just go there and do our job and go. But knowing what we know about them backstage, we know that couldn't be further from the truth. Here's two people who are incredibly invested in what they're doing, who work incredibly hard. We always see them training with Natty, with each other, always trying to work on more and more things. They're definitely not complacent people. But for some reason or another, the last couple segments have made them appear that way to me on screen. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm with you.
I agree with that.
It's just weird. Let's see in the chat a little bit. Fabtina says it's still way more women than they see on AEW's TV Weekly. Yeah, because, we might get 2 matches, but we'll get no backstage. Let's see. They are good with carrots. They're good carrots for storylines with backstage segments. And then True, I'm much less interested in the Riot Squad now. Their characters seem just meh. Nothing screams at me, but I love them outside of these characters. And I liked both of their characters once they split up. I liked the Riot Squad when it first came in. I was super excited. They split up. I like what they were both doing individually a lot. They got back together, and I thought, here's two elevated people from a group that I previously liked back together again. It's going to be great. And then, like you said, it feels like it's plateaued. I don't know. It needs something, man. It needs something to fire it up because I think we're all behind them.
Mm-hmm.
Something that would get them built up to be contenders for the women's tag team championships. Yes. Like, I'm not saying they could beat Charlotte and Asuka, although this storyline, which we'll get into a moment about the whole thing with Charlotte and Lacey Evans, could make things a little interesting there. But at least build them up to be a believable contender for Charlotte and Asuka, at least try to give them maybe some more wins, something like that, just to start building them up to be credible.
They got to do something, like win some sort of tournament or something. Like they need something that gives them a little fire. So I agree with that. If they did a tag gauntlet match on SmackDown for some reason or another with the women, like maybe they're trying to figure out the next women's tag contenders, and they just do a gauntlet match on SmackDown. It's going to be a SmackDown team because it hasn't been on SmackDown in a long time. So we're going to do a SmackDown gauntlet match of all the women's tags, have it start off with the Riot Squad, and people go, oh, no, I don't know about this, and then have them go the whole thing and fire it up and go, fuck yeah, let's do it. Maybe that's all it would take. That's all it took for Shinsuke, and we're going to get to that in just a second. Intercontinental Championship match, Big E versus Apollo Crews. Really weird first finish, kind of a start and stop kind of a deal with the double pin. The shoulder didn't look all the way down, but I guess it was down, and then they were both down. I liked the in-between there where they both got fired up. Apollo slaps Big E, and Big E's just all like, all right then, fuck you too, dude. And then they fucking had a fight. It was so good. And then the aftermath on Talking Smack, I know Grim saw this. I'm going to pitch it to Grim first. Grim, what do you think about Big E taking a big old slap and then Paul Heyman hyping up Apollo Crews?
So, just looking at the match itself, I mean, first off, and everyone gets the running joke, Apollo didn't have an entrance. So
neither of them did.
No. Well, Big E kind of had the cut-in entrance. The cut-in entrance from commercials, you still have a chance to win. The no entrance, forget it. Although, for NXT, for the past 2 weeks, the Grizzly Young Veterans didn't have an entrance and they won. But anyway, my most of the time when you don't have an entrance on TV, you're gonna lose.
Yeah,
So
fucking forget it.
right. So, but yes, I think I really like that. I really like the double pin, the idea, because it was unique. We haven't had a double pin scenario since I think it was like Raw of like 0304. It was like Christian was Intercontinental Champion or something. So like just having that type of like combination there was awesome. And then like it ratcheted up. The slap was like, no, let's do it. I want the championship. No draws. Don't, and then that just lit a fire under Big E, and we know Big E has that fire. So it kind of opened him up a little bit. And a big ending for the win. Actually, I did not see the Paul Heyman promo. So, Clump, did you see it?
I did not either.
Okay.
But I like the idea of Paul Heyman just kind of heating everyone up. Like,
it's been crazy, dude. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. In this role, like just heating people up, bringing them up, and it's working. And I don't know if it makes Heyman, like, I always view Heyman as, he's the ultimate opportunist. What is he trying to do here? Is he trying to find new clients? Is he trying to work a stable? Does he ultimately see working with Roman as a negative? Let's see what if, say, Roman and E, or Roman, I don't think Roman and Apollo yet, but Roman and E enter into a feud.
Mm-hmm.
Does Heyman play into that more? You built me up. You told me to step up and do something different, and here I am. And yeah, it's just fascinating to me.
I think this is what it is, though. I hear you. I definitely hear you. That's definitely how his character comes off. I think on Talking Smack, he comes off less like the advocate or the counsel, even though he'll still say it. He comes off more like the booker of ECW. When people are on the show and talking smack, he comes off to me like, I only have headliners. You just don't know you're a headliner yet because you only see your flaws. But here's the thing. We don't got to talk about those. We don't have to do that. Watching Talking Smack with Paul Heyman, the way he talks to these guys, especially after losses and stuff, even after wins that should be a bigger win. Like when he talked to Big E, he was on a winning streak, but he still was like, Big E, what the fuck? It sounds to me like you watch that stuff and you go, oh, of course ECW happened the way it happened. If this is how he's talking to these guys backstage, of course I'll go out there and murder myself for you, Paul. Are you kidding? Give me one more drink of that Kool-Aid, just a shot, and I'm going to go out there and jump off a 600-foot scaffolding because you're right, Paul. I am invincible. Thank you for showing me. That's what it comes off to me more as.
Paul Heyman's a barometer. He's a big-time barometer on people, and you hear about the conversations he has backstage with people, like just like the little tidbits, little advice, like you were just saying, Marsh, like especially in ECW, like sometimes they would run a tape with Paul Heyman talking about let's have a great pay-per-view, all that. Yeah. Just Talking Smack is giving him that platform to express what might be said backstage about someone, or like the potential of somebody, or something that he would tell them backstage, but he's saying it out for everybody to hear. So, and because Paul Heyman, just with what he's doing, he like you said, he's trying to bring out the, hey, it's there. I'm just telling you that it's there. So I think just Talking Smack being a medium for him to spread the message of what he really thinks about that person has been awesome.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I'll send you guys both that clip because I do think that I know I shared it in the group chat before, but I'll share it again. I heard a censored version where Paul Heyman's saying something and it beeps, and I was like, holy shit, did he just say what I think he said? And then I heard the uncensored version. I was like, oh, that's much more understandable.
Yeah.
And much more
I feel
believable.
cheated.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, that actually is a professional way to say that. But you just like for a second, like, did he just fucking say that to another person? But I'll find both of them and send them to you because they're funny. Let's see. Why are you sending me the stuff while I'm on the air? Just in time in the chat. Like I said, guys, if you want to check out live and get in the chat and derail the show, this is the way to do it. Twitch.tv/WrestlingOnTheRocks. If you have no idea how to do twitch.tv, go to wrestlingontherocks.com, hit the join us link, and it'll break down how you can join us on Twitch and how you can even subscribe for free. That's right. If you have Amazon Prime, you can link those and buy me a drink at no cost to you. That is a win-win. Just in Time in the chat says, before the reset, Big E and Apollo Crews match was... Oh, match-wise was really great. The double pin just kind of took me out of it at first, but the action after the reset was so good, I got kind of into the match all over again. Exactly.
Yes.
The double pin thing, 100%. I was like, what the fuck was that, man? It felt like a whoopee cushion with oil on the end. I was like, come on.
I thought somebody fucked up. I was like, oh, no.
I thought it had to be a fuck-up.
Yeah.
I thought it had to be. And then they come back, and the way they're doing it, I was like, oh, my God, I got worked. I love this. Two things I love the most we've talked about over and over again. I love getting worked. I loved eating crow. This is when I loved getting worked. Because I was like, there's no way. That was a fucking accident. It had to be, oh, fuck. Did Big E just lose his goddamn title on accident? And I was like, fuck. But they come back. They do the slaps. And I'm back into it. And it was better than I thought it could be. So fucking good. So good.
They come back. Big meaty men slap meat.
Yeah, that's right. Like patty cake.
Yeah. By the way, one thing
go ahead.
outside of the match, I love the exchange on Twitter between Apollo and Big E. Apollo, like a couple years ago, tweeted out like that.
Oh,
I wanted,
yeah.
like, yeah, he's so little. Big E, I never forgot.
Yeah, that was really funny. I never forgot. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I think that Just in Time actually said it perfectly in the way he said it, so we can move on if you guys are okay with that.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Yeah, we'll just barrel through this real quick. SmackDown, we got news two. We got
Don't put yourself
I got a.
hankering for some.
All right, here we go. Just more whiskey ought to do it. Guys, we have new tag team champions of the web.
SmackDown, not the world. SmackDown.
Well, SmackDown World tag. Is that? I don't know how it works. I don't understand contracts. This is falling to pieces. Look, bottom line, Dirty Dogs are your dirty champs, and I am into it. Super excited. Guys, what did you think of this real quick before we go on to the gauntlet match? I have nothing but positive things to say. It was not a long match. It was not drawn out. Montez Ford got his ass whooped, and I loved it.
And first off, if they didn't spell dogs with the W, I wouldn't have taken them seriously. Okay?
Dogs.
First things first.
Dogs.
Dogs. Okay? I don't know if I've noticed this before or didn't notice before. I like the red Solo Cup cannon where all the cups fall down at the beginning with the entrance. That's funny to me.
Wait, is that the first time you saw that?
Well, like I never really picked up on it, but that looks really good. I really like that.
They've been doing that for a while, and then for a while they actually had the Solo Cups. Once they went to SmackDown, they turned them blue for a while. They just went back to red.
Yep. I saw the blue ones. I didn't see the red ones, but there you go. But
all right. Well, either way,
maybe I just never really, didn't really click yet. And I really like how Montez Ford, they made him look like $1 million at the end. He had to take 9 finishers, and then finally they ripped his leg off and pinned him. So, it's been. All right. We got the smoke dance going on here. Clump. Got the smoke dance. There we go.
I don't know what that is.
That's
If you're listening on the podcast,
methodical.
Marsh is just in the background with 2 red Solo Cups doing some sort of...
They're not just any 2 red Solo Cups. These are autographed by Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, both of them.
Nice.
But
that's cool.
Yeah, I keep those props up because I don't know what to do with them. I don't know anybody who likes the Street Profits enough for me to do much with them. But
also, I think that's also
by them.
I think that's also because if you meet somebody and they say, I love the Street Profits, you immediately knock them down. So you're like, I'm not giving them a gift.
Yeah, I block them. Yeah. Instant block. Someone's all like, how good are the Street Profits? I'm like, block. I'll never know.
Also, big time bad guy move at the end where they're like, oh, we lost. And then Rude and Ziggler just dumped them out of the ring. We're the champs now.
Oh,
I love it. And
The fuck out of my ring.
Now
Yeah.
play our music. Like, yeah, so that was a nice cherry on top.
I loved it, man. Dude, Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler are so fucking good. That's like a tag team of two Mr. Perfects. Like, how does that happen? Just me?
I like
Okay.
it. No, I agree with that.
I don't know if you're wait, you're kind of hamsy on me right now. I don't know if you're trolling or if you're being serious.
No, seriously. I think Bobby Roode
Seriously.
and Dolph Ziggler are both a lot like
Okay.
Mr. Perfect. And I think that
All
the
right.
two of them as a tag team are fucking phenomenal. As talkers, as match quality, so good.
Yeah, I'm a big fan
They're
of
good.
both of them.
Yeah, it's a solid act.
Sorry.
Because to me, they're believable.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but I was not feeling that for Street Profits. It felt more like a joke. And with Dolph and Bobby Roode, I feel like, yes, they can joke amongst themselves, but they can also flip within a instance, and just be completely serious, and I'll believe it.
Yeah, I feel like that if I'm at a party, the guys like Street Profits are going to make me want to leave the party, but the guys who are like Dolph and Ziggler, I'm going to laugh at until I realize I've made one upset, and then I'm going to just get my ass kicked. You know what I mean? But I won't leave the party. I'll just sit there and get my ass kicked. But I also do get it that a lot of people like Street Profits. They find them very funny. I just find them annoying. But I think that that's a personality clash. I think that I would find them annoying in real life. So I don't think that there's anything wrong inherently with actually liking Street Profits. But I do actually really like Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode. So seeing them win the titles together, having their Dirty Dog shirt, being total assholes and throwing them out, I popped, man. I liked it. It was fun. It was fun for me.
Good.
I get that.
All right. Grim hates me. Let's talk about the gauntlet match.
You ain't the only one. Ah.
Grim, are you all sad that Street Profits lost their title?
No, not sad. It's
They'll be back, man.
All right, you know what? Next chapter. Let's keep it moving, keep it grooving. That's pretty much what it
Okay.
is. I think it does more for Dolph and Robert Roode to have the. I want to call him Bobby, but since he's I'm Robert. But just looking at it though, I mean, it's going to further them along because they tagged together for how long? A year or so ago, and that they were a solid team, but didn't really hit their peak. Now I really believe like SmackDown will be that vehicle for them to, build up as a tag team.
Yeah. And look at this. Bottom line, if you like the Street Profits, how boring have they been as champions overall? But how exciting was it watching them go towards the championships? I do think that that Street Profits without the titles may be more interesting. I don't think they were doing a lot with them. And I do think that Robert Roode and Dolph will capitalize on being champions in a way that the Street Profits were not able to. But I do think that the Street Profits will be back. I don't think it's the last we've seen of them. I don't think that that's the last title reign. I think they'll be back. So for me, it was just fun.
I think there's something to be said about the chase. If you're a babyface team or, in the main event, there's something to when somebody wins the title. That's that release, that like, oh, great moment, That's what you're waiting for. I think Roode and Ziggler make a perfect heel tag team champion. They both need it, and they both are solid like workers, but they need it. There's only so long you can have them in these roles where you're like, okay, why is he in the main event? I mean, yeah, he's good, but he never wins a fucking thing. Why is he in the main event? And to me, Dolph has been getting there more and more. So him getting, a title reign, him and Roode finally working, because this has been going on for what seems like 3 years with kind of effect.
True.
Yeah, this is perfect.
You know what I think it leads us to? And then we'll get into the gauntlet match. I think that what's clearly going to happen is Dolph Ziggler's going to get his revenge and take the world championship title off of Goldberg once he went to the Rumble. Cool.
One can dream.
Because Goldberg's definitely winning, and then Dolph Ziggler can get his payback because he's a legit tag champion now. Of course, he needs to have a world title.
Well, we'll get to Raw in a minute, but I think though, Clump, just to kind of piggyback off what you were saying, I think also like building them up, giving them that win, give him credible wins. Royal Rumble, if it's Elimination Chamber, I think, and the next thing, and then WrestleMania, have that up and coming team that could take the championship off of them, or something like that, or like build up Dolphin and Rude, and then have a new fresh tag team, a debuting team, maybe the night after WrestleMania or something, giving like that shine right off the bat.
Yes.
Oh yeah, 100%. I love that. I love all of that. Yeah. Guys, let's talk about the gauntlet match. I don't know what we can say that hasn't been said, so I think we won't drag on about this because it took us a while to get here, to be honest. But we had Mysterio, Sami Zayn, Nakamura, Corbin, Daniel Bryan, and Adam Pearce in this gauntlet match. Adam Pearce put in there by slimy Paul Heyman, which was so funny. And he goes, I remember Scrap Daddy. Back when I was Paul Dangerously. You know what I mean? Loved it. Loved that whole segment. But here we go. I also like, by the way, because I don't think enough people are talking about this, Sami Zayn coming out with his own camera crew because he's talking about the conspiracy against him.
Loved it.
I cannot wait for the WWE QAnon-style documentary that's going to be produced all about how the company is trying to screw Sami Zayn. Can't fucking wait.
Absolutely.
It's going to be so good. Go ahead, Grim.
Absolutely. One of my first notes comes out with his own cameras. And honestly, totally down with him spending his entire 3 to 4 minutes just running it down, getting on the mic, going through everything, because that did a heck of a lot for him. And then I'm not even mad that he lost in a minute because of the opening promo and the cameras and the whole thing. Like, just like, he was so distracted with getting his message out. That's what cost him that loss. So it really pushes the story forward for that.
Yeah, his whole story has nothing to do with this fucking gauntlet match. He's like, yeah, I'm in a gauntlet match, but the real story is about what my injustices are. And then he just gets his ass fucking handed to him, throws out, and he goes, this is bullshit. He's like, were the cameras rolling? Like, so funny, dude.
And I'm pretty sure he tweeted out today asking, all right, what other injustices? What else you got, guys?
Yeah, he's looking towards fans to get stuff. I want to go back and rewatch some of the Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Shane McMahon stuff, because I know there was some stuff there where they'd stacked cards against him.
Yeah, we could actually start his documentary for him.
Yeah, we get it going. I think also a lot of the times when he was Intercontinental Champion and posters were coming out, it would show every champion except for him. So I'm hoping that some of that shit got bookmarked too. But all that aside, I thought it was hysterical. I really like what they're doing. I can't wait for the WWE quality documentary we're going to get of his QAnon fucking...
Cole called them the fantasy filmmakers.
Yeah. So funny. Yeah. And then here's the other deal is that, like, so part of the thing that I really like about Sammy is we know for a fact he's one of the best wrestlers ever. He's just so good in the ring, like legitimately a good wrestler, and can tell an amazing story in there. The idea that he keeps getting booked in these matches with people where you're all like, oh, this is going to be a tremendous match. And then he just, like, farts at you and runs out and wins somehow. I'm like, this is hysterical because it's making people so frustrated. They're like, I just want to see him wrestle an awesome match. And you're like, or he can come out, fuck around, get kicked in the face, and leave. Both, I think, are just as enjoyable to him, to be honest. True. But, so we had Sami Zayn. Clump, was there anything you want to say about this QAnon documentary we're going to get?
I don't want to, like, avoid saying that phrase, so let's keep going.
Well,
I don't feel like it's going to age well.
All right. Well, I thought it was crazy. Do people not think it's crazy? Should I be using a different term?
What do you mean?
Oh, it's definitely, conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, I thought it was a conspiracy. I thought it was just flat out, hey, we do conspiracies here. Is that not the case?
Oh, no. Well, it's a specific conspiracy theory.
Oh, well, their content, I pay no mind to. I'm saying the fact that they got all these conspiracy theory documentaries, I'm hoping we see almost a parody of some of that style. That's what I meant. I apologize. Clump.
But overall.
Yeah, overall, the match in and of itself was really good. I wanted to say that Nakamura people were asking, like, did he turn face here? And I think that in a sense, yes. But I also think that in a sense, who is good enough that can get in the ring with Rey Mysterio, Baron Corbin, Daniel Bryan, and Adam Pearce and be able to flip between face and heel? You know what I mean? Because when he was in the ring with Daniel Bryan, he was kind of working heelish. He wasn't just outright cheating and being a dick, and he didn't kick him in the balls, but he was being kind of shitty, and he was getting the heat on Daniel Bryan a lot. But when Corbin was in there, he was just getting his ass handed to him. He was building up the sympathy. You know what I mean? Like the classic kind of styles that you see in the psychology of a babyface versus a heel. He was able to seamlessly just go between those two things. Who else is that good to be that utility? Where you're like, how do we get from A to Z with a huge twist ending and have somebody be able to anchor this? I don't know. The Dolph can go all that face at this point. He's kind of a dick. Yeah. I mean, he's that good. But Shinsuke had a tremendous showing and was able to seamlessly go through those things.
He was kind of like the Rollins of this gauntlet match, the marathon person. Not over an hour, but in terms of the length of the match, he carried that match. And I think you have a lot of people. Like, I've been a Shinsuke Nakamura fan for a while, you know, and just based on his work and everything, I mean, he showed he could still go. Like, he can run, you know, he could, you know, work any type of style of a match, submission, you know, being the, you know, getting beat down or beating somebody else down and all that. Like, he showed, like you said, Mark, a bunch of different faces, if you will, of his work. But yes, I honestly was happy at the end when he won, quote unquote, and then Adam Pearce came down and, you know, that all changed. But, you know, I mean, during the match, I was actually rooting for Shinsuke to win because of the body of work he was putting out there and just made me invested more in the match.
Yeah, 100%. Clump, what do you think about Shinsuke in this?
I think he really was like the standout of this. I was curious to see like if this is going to end up putting Adam Pearce over. Who are we going to build out of this? Right. And I'm glad it was Shinsuke. I think everyone else there is doing great in the role. The only other person I could think would be Corbin, but Shinsuke is kind of the odd one out here. Yeah. You know, you could argue that Sammy's kind of in the mid card, but he's got these pretty dedicated moving spots. Yeah. So I'm okay with him staying there. However, Shinsuke, I feel like he's been kicked way down. So it was a space for him to kind of show everyone, look what I can do. There's a reason I'm here, guys.
That is a tremendous call out I haven't seen anyone bring up. Rey Mysterio will always be Rey Mysterio. Sami Zayn is performing at a level we haven't seen Sami Zayn perform at from a character standpoint in a really long time, and everyone's talking about how great he is. Daniel Bryan, no one more loved in the world, and Baron Corbin, none more hated. So you got Nakamura, this kind of floundering tag guy who we used to see as a singles champion, is just kind of like doing this thing. He was the one dude, like you said, odd man out of literally the one you'd expect almost the least out of in this group. Because you go, oh, Mysterio can go the whole way. Oh, well, Sami Zayn's a gauntlet kind of guy. Corbin's such a piece of shit, he could win this whole thing just to piss us off. And Daniel Bryan, of course, if he wins, then we all love him even more. But Nakamura, you're like, yeah, I guess he'll come and go. But you're right. He took the most out of this coming out of it. He goes, no, lest ye forget, I'm a bad motherfucker. Love that call out.
Okay.
Yep. I think Graham agrees. But that does build us to Adam Pearce coming out to Roman Reigns music, being thrown in there, taking the best super kick in the world with the stiff arm going down.
Yeah.
And yeah, that stiff arm, dude, that left arm tucked in like fuck, just fucking beautiful. I can't watch it enough. And this isn't the same like I watched Pat McAfee kick Adam Cole in the face thousands of times because it was so enjoyable to me for multiple levels, not the least of which being his bump. This is one I don't enjoy on the same level, but I'm watching the same way. I can't believe
Adam
how
Pearce
perfectly
got
he did this.
unplugged.
Yes.
Those are the best. Those are the best ones. They just pull the plug, Like, just
Yeah.
those are awesome.
100%, 100%. And what we're building towards here now, Jey Uso, Roman Reigns beat the absolute shite out of Shinsuke. Throw Adam Pearce on top. Adam Pearce wins. Now we got Adam Pearce versus Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. It'll be really nice seeing Adam Pearce as a Universal Champion. I think it's very exciting that we know that that's coming. In the chat real quick, and then we'll bring it back around. Justin says, I honestly liked Adam Pearce winning. After what he said about how he hadn't wrestled in years and felt like he couldn't go if Roman had done anything, this is the perfect match for him to prove himself and that he still has it. Roman Reigns is going to make Pearce look like $1 million. I don't know that I think he will look like $1 million, but I do think I want that. If it's me booking the match, which I'm not because who the fuck am I? In my mind...
Marsh.
What?
You're Marsh.
In my mind, if you go there, you have Adam Pearce getting pushed around by Roman. Adam saying, look, dude, I don't even want to do this. I don't know why I'm here. Why is it like it? Roman starts picking on him. Eventually does something that gets Adam Pearce just fucking riled up and says, you know what, dude, fuck you. And then fights back enough to where it just makes Roman pissed because now you've knocked me silly and I don't like that because I'm the fucking head of this table. And then he just fucking annihilates and murders Adam Pearce so Adam can learn his lesson that Roman's in charge. This is Roman's show now. We rep the same smart tech. You know what I mean?
I can see maybe like the week before the Rumble, or maybe the Friday before the Rumble, or the week prior. I guess the Adam Pearce in a match with Jey Uso, kind of as a, like, you know, oh, you have to get through him to get to me kind of thing, or like, you know, just kind of like softening him up for Roman kind of deal.
I could see that too. There's a lot of people speculating that we're not even going to get to this match, that they're going to shoehorn in like a Seth Rollins or a Kevin Owens to take Adam Pearce's spot. I think it's very, very possible. I don't know how you get there exactly, and I kind of like imagining how something will play out if it played out the way they said it was gonna. Clump, what do you think?
I could see that. I could see them shoehorning in someone. However, Kevin Owens, I like. You mentioned Seth, and that kind of made me cringe a bit. I don't know. I want to see Seth come back, and I kind of want to see a feud between Seth and Roman.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to see that yet. I don't know if I want to see it with so little build. And yeah, it'd be a hell of a pop, but I don't know. I think it's not been enough of a pause for Seth. Not that he hasn't been fantastic, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I also think that if Seth comes back, he comes back different. He can't. The Messiah thing's played out. He's had his disciples. He's lost all his disciples. Now he's watching his disciples bang out his opponent's daughters and stuff. And he's ripped out an eyeball. He's got it in his pocket. He keeps it with him everywhere he goes. What more does he need to be as a Messiah? Every good Messiah has a pocket full of eyeballs and no disciples. So he's ready to move on. He can come back and be a good guy. He can be like, hey, guys, I ate the eyeball. I don't know why. I was really drunk, and I'm ready to move on. And then people accept it.
What do you think? Royal Rumble return? Night after Mania return? We need him for Mania. Do we do Rollins and Becky come back at the same time? Do they try to time those differently? Like, kind of, I'm thinking about that in my head.
I think Night after Mania.
You think Night after Mania for both?
I think that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They need time
to a WrestleMania without Seth, dude. Seth is such a Mania guy.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I think part of what makes me struggle is you nailed it right. Seth is such a Mania guy. Maybe we need time for him to breathe. Plus, this is nobody's going to be mad at him for taking time off because he's got a kid. That's great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't like babies, so.
That's fair. Same.
Yeah. Producer, something you want to say?
Do you think he could somehow be related to a Sami Zayn story in that a leader of a cult with all these conspiracies? I'm just saying, because I like his work right now so much that I don't really want to see him away from a Messiah or like this crazy leader. So I'm just thinking of other storylines.
Right, but he's a failed leader, so it'd be a little bit weird.
Well, failed in your eyes.
Failed in that he has no disciples. I think he's tremendous as the Messiah, but he's a failed leader. He had what at one point up to 3 disciples, lost them all. Right? That's not success. So I hear you. I do think that much on the same tone as Klump was saying. I think there's certain lines we want to be careful to get gray around, and I think maybe Messiah and conspiracies in one storyline could be a bit much. It could be quite a pill. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know if we get Seth and Becky back at the same time or not. I would imagine that you'd stagger those, but I could see the appeal in not. But yeah, I would think you'd stagger them because they've been so separate, as it were. I don't know where you bring them back. And kind of like you said, when you have kids, it's a whole different ballgame. And I could understand being swayed to come back at any given time. Both these people clearly love what they do and are living out their dream and are both at levels they never thought they could ever really truly achieve. Mm-hmm. There's no reason for them not to come back as far as that goes. So, that's a tough one for me to try to fantasy book as far as like their returns. I think because it's such a public family related thing that there's part of my mind that just shuts down at that point. Where you're like, when do you want Becky to come back? When she's ready. You know what I mean? Like
Right. Agreed.
Yeah, there's like part of me that just like, I don't know. Like if someone's like, "Oh, can you imagine she's back at Mania?" And I was like, "Well, if that's what she wants." Like there's part of me that like my brain just can't even process that concept of fantasy booking that deep. It's just like I just want what's best for them as people and as a family, and I just really appreciate them. Like it's weird because it's like, I mean, I know that the whole we talk about it all the time. Just we book what we see kind of a deal, and we're just fantasy booking and contracts. Part of the reason I say I don't understand contracts is because I don't let things like contracts get in the way of my fantasy booking. Because that's the whole point of fantasy booking. Just go fucking nuts. Oh, fantasy book Macho Man and Adam Cole. Because you can just fantasy book that shit in your head and go, this would be tremendous. Because I don't understand contracts or death. You know what I mean? But for whatever reason, when it comes to like Becky and Seth having a kid because of the way they did it, I guess that when someone's like, what do you think about if they came back for Rumble? I'm like, well, if that's what they want, then whatever's best for them as a family and a people. It's weird. I know it's weird.
Cool.
But in my mind, the best I can give you is I would imagine you would stagger that. And I don't know where they come back, and I don't see a wrong answer. I don't think I've heard one scenario that anyone's given of Seth or Becky coming back that made me go, no way. That would be awful. All of them sound like that would be great if they're ready and that's the proper time for them.
Proper 12 time. Yeah.
Proper 12. Just in time in the chat says, I feel like Burn It Down Rollins is the only way to go for Rollins and a Reigns feud. And I don't disagree with that. I do think, like you said, Clump, getting to Reigns and Rollins I think would be huge. I don't know how to get there, and I just thought that maybe a Seth could come in here and intervene if someone's going to. But bottom line, I'm actually really excited for Adam Pearce getting a little bit of spotlight. I do think it'd be really cool if we got to see him wrestle a little bit here and there. But I do think more importantly, all accolades aside, 5-time NWA champion, all those things, what we know about Adam Pearce because of his wrestling history, the dude knows how to tell a story. And he's in there with another guy who's next level telling stories right now. Mm-hmm. Whatever happens between Adam Pearce and Roman Reigns,
they're not going to fuck it up.
They're not going to fuck it up.
You've proven me wrong before, but I doubt it's going to happen. I feel fairly secure that this will be decent, to say the least.
Clump's hot take, they will not fuck up. I'm down.
I'm into it. Prove me wrong. Next week's show, fuck you, fuck everything about. Yeah. I quit. I'm done.
Like that Michael Scott Jeffrey's like, no, God, no.
And I thought of one scenario for Seth and Becky coming back that I think you might dislike it. I know I would.
If they come back to fight Ric Flair again and Lacey Evans as a new
I was going to say
match
Triple
tag.
H and Stephanie.
Oh, that would be good too.
No.
Yeah.
No.
That would be good. Ric Flair and Lacey in a mixed tag match against Seth and Becky would also be good.
Oh man.
Is there anything we're missing about Roman and Adam?
No, I think we're
I'm
we're
pumped.
good.
I think we're
Also,
good to go to Raw. I love the
a
way you
good
said he
2
gets
hou-
unplugged. Go ahead, Clump.
A good 2-hour show. Like, this is how you tell a story over 2 hours that works. SmackDown, every time I watch it, I'm like, you know what? You are doing good. Raw, learn.
There's some stuff. Here's the thing about SmackDown, too, is it felt like everybody maximized their minutes.
Yes.
There was no wasted minutes here. There was no point where you're all like, come on. You're just all like, fuck, yes. Everything. Every little bit.
Good.
Whereas
Speaking
Raw
of
feels like we're killing
maximizing
time.
minutes- Yes. Raw sometimes feels like, well, I guess we got another 20 minutes. Who wants to do something?
Dude, it doesn't even feel like 20 minutes. There's times I'm watching Raw and I'm like, okay, I could get if an hour, a third of this were a little bit of filler because we got another hour over SmackDown. There's times I'm like, is this all room floor stuff? Like this, it feels like we got a 30 minutes of things I liked and the rest of it all. Like,
Yeah, 100%. Producer had something she wanted to say.
I would still love if some of that filler time went to NXT UK. Throw in a couple things that weren't on the live show that are only going to be on Raw. I would love that. Just to give some more airtime for those people, and also like give us good quality content. We don't want something that's not going to matter or you're just twiddling your thumbs. Like, I just feel like NXT UK is not being utilized as much as they could be.
That's true. I think any use of NXT UK is great use. Guys, Raw opened up on Twitter with an announcement that Drew McIntyre had acquired COVID and would not be here this evening. And then an hour later they said, psych, we got him on Skype. This dude's got a phone. We're going to use it. He's coming back. And we're all like, okay. Cheers to Drew, and I would say speedy recovery, but take your time, dude. COVID's nothing to fuck around about. Don't hurry back. Take the right amount of time and feel good when you come back.
Indeed.
We'll be here when you come back, and we'll be excited for you to come back. With that in mind, I was like, oh, you know what makes this really interesting is that so much of the show is usually built around Drew. It'll be great to see who steps up, who steps into that spotlight, and who takes over good chunks of the show and really shines. Followed up immediately by an announcement.
Uh-oh.
What?
No, go ahead, Marsh. Stick the landing.
Oh, yeah. It was followed up immediately by an announcement that the show was going to open up with Triple H. Thus, my answer, who's going to step up? What young new talent is going to be in there to shine a light on their greatness? Time to play the game.
50 years young. 50 years young.
But I'm going to say this before I pitch it to you guys. However, that opening segment, Randy Orton and Triple H spitballing back and forth, going back to the old balls joke as I like. Triple H showed time and time again what makes him so great. He was fucking phenomenal in every segment on here. Believable. Sounded mean, like a mean motherfucker. Triple H was so good, he made Drew McIntyre sound like Bart Simpson in playbacks in my mind. Guys, tell me what you thought about Triple H and Randy Orton.
Go ahead, Clump.
Okay. One, he didn't make Drew sound like Bart Simpson. Bart Simpson's eloquent. He made Drew sound like fucking Ralph Wiggum. It just reminded me, oh yeah, you guys are similar, but you're not. You're more a chip off the old block, not coming after and growing it. It was great. It was great working together. I loved Triple H calling Randy a prick because I just like, I don't know, prick isn't a word that is a bad word, but it's a word whenever I hear it, I'm like, I love this word. It just makes me happy. It's a good one.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's like a back easty thing, like, that prick, but it just makes me happy to hear, and it's better than saying bitch all the time. For AEW and WWE, I liked it a lot. I think we could have given more time to someone else. I was also going to throw out here, it wasn't so much that Triple H stepped up a lot, because we still heard quite a bit from Drew throughout the show. Like, it came back to him a couple times, and I was like, okay, this is great. This could be a cool PSA commercial rather than we're going to talk about this over and over again. Go to you,
I'm with you. Oh yeah, I'm with you on that in terms of the opening segment. I mean, just awesome, just awesome back and forth. I mean, sure, we've seen it, so many times before, and actually, so technically, yesterday was the 28th anniversary of Monday Night Raw. So, in terms of a new year, and everything. So kind of going back into pages of time with Triple H and Randy Orton, Evolution, after Evolution, the whole thing, so just seeing that story of just how they developed through, and then Randy's promo through backstage, talking about, Triple H knew me better than I knew myself in the beginning. Now I have all this hate above me, and I'm going to direct it all at him. And just awesome storytelling throughout the entire show. Triple H's promo, or Triple H backstage, looking into the camera, I'm coming for you, Randy. It was awesome. So just the build up to the end of the show, or throughout the show, was good.
Yeah, there was, to me, I agree with Clump, a little bit too much Drew. They did replay the Drew and Goldberg package like 3 times. They replayed Drew talking about COVID like twice, and then they played his segment like twice about the other. It did feel like a little Drew heavy for a show without Drew. So I was kind of like, guys, it's also fine to just have let him say his thing, let him come out and say the thing. That could have been one spot and didn't have to be 2 separate spots, but I do agree with that. Triple H did say, when someone wants you to do something, you don't give them the satisfaction. And I felt bad for Stephanie McMahon. But that in mind, I don't get no.
I will say real quick about the Drew PSA about wearing your mask and being safe and all of that, yeah. Right? I mean,
that should be tweeted.
He slid into that role as the good guy, I don't want to say the John Cena role, but kind of the ambassador role, because he's the champion and he's supposed to be the good guy and everything, just kind of like saying, wear your mask. And yes, obviously with what he's going through, but kind of just also turning that into a message, saying if a guy like me can get it, anyone can get it, and make sure, so he was I don't want to say the example, but he was kind of like the person who was saying, like a kind of, I don't want to say poster child, but kind of like just saying, like, this is essentially happening to me, it could happen to anyone else.
That's true. And he's like, I'm a superhero, and if I can get it. So that's true. He played well into that.
I like how, even him trying to do something nice, Marsh and I are so just jaded to Drew's existence. Like, yeah, he's trying, but he can still go fuck himself.
Well,
he's just, yeah. I don't know how he fixes and does better, but it so far hasn't really worked for me. Like
I thought a break would be nice, but we'll see what happens next week. How many times are they going to play that video, Let's see. Let's just kind of run through some of the stuff here. What do you guys think about the Lacey Evans and Charlotte Flair thing? That's been going on for a bit. The internet's a buzz about it. We've got Lacey Evans trying to bang it out with Ric Flair. She said online that she's like more or less trying to get in his head so he can get in Charlotte's head. I don't know, man. I feel like they've gotten so close with Lacey so many times of almost making that character good. And I don't mean like good versus bad as in like evil versus, good. Or even face and heel. I just mean like that character seems to be like so floundering all the time. Like she's a Marine, but she seems really slutty. And I don't mean that in a...
Yeah.
It's this weird thing, right? So producer here on the show is a veteran and was in the military for quite some time. So when she's first introduced to Lacey Evans, her initial reaction was, oh, how great representation, right? Here's a military woman being proud of her military service and being a fighter, and her finishing moves, the women's right, and she punches you right in the goddamn mouth.
Yes.
But then it's presented like a stripper who curries favor and seduces old men to get what she wants, and it's like a complete turnoff for her. It was like such a fight to get producer to not just yell about Lacey for 30 minutes every time she came on TV, to the point where it's just like, I was just like, stop watching her. Like, she's not going to be good for at least 2 years. She's still learning. But now we're in this whole other thing where it's like, I don't know what to tell you. She's been doing this weird, stupid shit for so long, but she's good. She was fantastic on the mic. She's better in the ring than ever. Mm-hmm. And somehow she's still strapped with this shit. Like, and it's so close to being good.
Like, and it vacillates so much between, like, I was kind of excited for her when she was working with Bailey and she was going into, like, being, you know, bringing her kid in, which, yeah, it's kind of basic, but maybe you can say something more than being, like, I feel like she's the most talented female performer in the shittiest promotion where she's called G.I. Ho. You know what I mean? And, like, she just goes back to that, like, over and over and over again. And I'm like, okay, like, you're showing me you can do more of that. And we just go back to something between, I'm gonna curry favors, I'm gonna change back at your dad's room, to, you know, hey, I'm a great performer and I'm in the military, to then, oh, I like to make my husband a sandwich because I know how to treat men. And I'm like, I hate all of this. Just like, stop.
We took
Totally
a kid to a
dropped.
live show. I took a kid to a live show. He was like 11 at the time, I believe. And while we're there, he didn't watch the regular shows, but he would come to wrestling shows with me when they come to town because it was just a fun thing we did. I took this dude over there. We're watching. He's never seen Lacey. After the show was completely over, we're talking about, what do you think about this? He loved The Fiend because he loves horror movies and stuff. He didn't like Seth Rollins, even though Seth Rollins was a champ at the time. He loved Becky Lynch. Like, he was talking about all these things he liked. And then at one point he goes like, who was that girl with, like, the blonde? And I was all like, Lacey Evans? He goes like, yeah. He goes, I think she would just be happier if she was just a stripper. Like, why does she wrestle if she just wants to do that? And I was all like, what? Like, like, the kid picked up all of that. You know what I mean? Like, how weird was it? I didn't say anything. Producer had something she wanted to say real quick, and then we'll go to Grim.
Sorry, real quick. I think when I first saw her, I expected her to be more of this G.I. Jane woman, because of all the backstage stuff I saw of how great of a trainer she was at NXT, of really motivating all the talent. I thought, oh, she's going to be like a Sergeant Slaughter, a female version. She's going to be this badass. You do what I say. This is America, you know. And they started with the red, white, and blue, and I was like, oh, I'm down for that. I would have really liked that. I think because I could believe it in her personality. I think that's something that she could have drawn from naturally. Whereas this, I don't know if it's natural. I mean, she can do it. Because, you know, she's got the body and she's got a great look, but, like, it doesn't relate to me. I don't know who relates to it. I don't really find it an interesting story. I just feel like it's vapid, but that's just me.
Yeah, and before we go to Grim right now, the other thing is that producer was a huge fan of burlesque at the time, and so we would watch this stuff, and she's like, she feels like a burlesque dancer, not like a wrestler. And she's a fan of both things. So she's all like, I like Lacey as a performer. She's like, but I think she's in the wrong performance. Like, of all the performances I like, this is where my mind puts her in the most, which was kind of crazy to think about too.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, you know, the way she's peeling her clothes off. If you want to do burlesque, cool, go do it. I just don't, I don't see why it's being so forced into this world where it doesn't work on the storyline. It doesn't elevate women in this story, in this environment, I feel like. Whereas it can in other realms, but not here. I feel like here it's being taken as, oh, it's just a slutty thing to do, where that's again not helping women, not helping character, and I feel bad for her character as a character. Because I want her to be elevated. I want her to be as good as we all know that she can be.
Yeah, Grim, go ahead.
Looking at Lacey Evans, it comes down to how much do we want to keep putting stock into the sassy Southern Belle persona? I mean, when she first started in NXT, she was leaning more towards the military background, and then her character developed into the lady of NXT and went into the sassy Southern Belle thing, and just like kind of just she morphed more towards that side of it. Now I just believe that she needs to find that harmony between the both, or maybe kind of lean back a little bit away from the sassy stuff. So just, again, so kind of just, just kind of the back and forth of her character, the progression of her character over the last few years, leaning more into the sassy. We got to pull that back.
What if I feel like a good harmony would be like, I mean, if you think about Sergeant Slaughter or Lacey as a drill sergeant, instead of screaming maggot, she could just be almost the same promos, but screaming nasties. You know what I mean? Like, drop down, you nasty. I'm going to whoop the nasty right out of you. You know what I mean? Like, when I'm done with you, there won't be any nasty left. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you could go that route.
Yeah, and I honestly thought I would feel a connection because her job in the military was a police officer. And as a female mechanic on aircraft, I thought, oh, yes, we've both done actual, like really tough jobs in the military. So I thought, oh, I'll definitely connect with this person. And unfortunately, I haven't. And yeah, it's just a shame, I think.
It's weird to alienate that group. Go ahead, Clum.
I was going to say, like, tough and I think undersung. Like, they're roles that we don't think of as much with them, like, with the military. And I think it'd be really interesting to go into it more. But the big thing that frustrates me with Lacey is, and I think we've all nailed it, is it feels so very close to the idea here is, I think at its core, we're going to flip the stereotype on its head that you're thinking. We're going to flip the idea that they want to portray on its head. We want to make it, this kind of powerful, sexy, strong, character. But I don't know if it's that she can't pull it off, or that somebody's, and I hope this isn't the case, somebody's interpretation of it really is hanging on this poor mixture, the formula where it feels frankly old and overtold and a bit exploitive.
Yeah,
like
like a Halloween costume instead of an actual uniform.
Yes, it feels to me like, it really feels like this character would have been the starring attraction of WWE in 1999. And that's the part that's upsetting me. That this would be, she's coming out to fight right to censor. She's teaming with China, and that sucks, because they are incredibly gifted on the mic. They're super fantastic in the ring. And they have the ability to tell a great story. Why not flip it more? Why not? I think it'd be hilarious if, we've heard those promos where she says, and I have my husband do, or I make a sandwich for my husband before he gets home. I would love her to say, and he has dinner ready for me by the time I get there. Yeah. Hell yeah. Flip it more, do more of this. You don't have to,
lean into him being a stay-at-home dad. There's nothing wrong with having a woman that's that strong to be the breadwinner.
The way that fine.
I'm actually good friends with some people who are stay-at-home dads because the wife makes the most amount of money and works like that. That's a real dynamic that's out there at this point. And if that's their actual dynamic, which it seems like it is, there's nothing wrong with that, and you can lean into it a little bit.
It feels, honestly, at times problematic, just the way it's presented, because it comes off more and more like, I'm not saying this isn't a creation of her, but it feels more and more like this was a creation of somebody who's been there for a long time. And I'm not knocking it. I'm not specifically thinking of anyone, but it feels like it's a creation of somebody who has an idealistic view of a woman 40 years ago. And it really bothers me,
Like that chime in again.
Which is interesting when we think about the Carmella character, how it's flipped the idea of the strong female sexual character. This is the complete opposite.
Yeah, Carmella comes off like I'm in charge, I'm a boss, and I'm really sexy at it too, so nah boo boo. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
she really almost like throws it in your face, like, can you believe that I'm this good, this talented, such a badass, and I'm this fucking hot?
Yes.
Lacey doesn't come off that same kind of snooty, throwing my hotness in your face like Carmella is. This just comes off as, oh, I can use sexual favors to get what I want, which is a lot more slimy to me. And not in the boo way, but in the no way.
Yes. The last thing I was going to say is I feel like further, if asked to defend this, you would get a response from people who say, well, it's a classical, you know, they would use the term classical or like classical beauty, something like that, you know, just like to throw the idea of it being like it's meant to go back to this kind of idea, and I'd be like, we don't need that. It's not aged well. We don't need it. Like it's a shame that this character is existing still.
That's where it's at. Now here's the thing though. Lacey Evans on the mic was doing so good. I could do without her shitty laugh. Her that's got to go. We can snip that out right now. We don't need that. Producer keeps saying, I think she's trying to laugh like Sasha. And I'm like, no. She's trying to laugh like some sort of cartoon. Because like Sasha would do the ha 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 like this I'm in your face thing. She's like like she's fucking Rocky and Bullwinkle or some shit. Like, I don't get it.
Like an old-timey cartoon villain.
Yes. Yes, she's a prospector or something trying to find what are the animals? Bugs, bunnies, and shits. Like that. It sounds like an old-timey cartoon. No one laughs or talks like that.
It's like Dr. Evil and Austin Powers.
Yeah, but almost worse. I'd almost rather a muahaha, because then it would seem like this is legit feels like that fucking like Speed Racer kind of villain. I'm coming for ya. Get the fuck out of here. So that's got to go. But all the words, all of her presentation, her believability, all of it was there. And you know what? At the end of the day, this match she had with Charlotte was actually a really fucking good match.
Yeah.
But the match ended with Charlotte calling Lacey a hooker. Literally called her a hooker twice. And then Lacey just leaves the ring like, bye, I'm with your dad. And you're like, whoa.
It validated everything you two just said over the last 10 minutes. Right there.
Yes.
It made me think of like an old Beavis and Butthead episode where like Beavis or Butthead calls Beavis's mom like a whore, and Beavis responds, "Hey, she's a slut. She doesn't charge for it." It's like, you're not winning the argument. Like I could see Lacey saying, "He's not paying me anything."
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. I could see it going that way, yeah, actually. That sucks. Real quick, I'm going to hit the chat real quick because like I said before, if you're in the chat, I'm going to let you derail the show a little bit. I'm going to back up just a bit. Just in Time 211 said, even though I do think it should have been someone else, I give Triple H props for stepping up in a bad situation. It was a really good opening segment, and I agree. But at the same time, I always go, oh, it should be someone else. But at the same time, like, I mean, who? It doesn't matter if it was really good. I don't know. So I go back and forth. It could have been somebody else. It wasn't. I'm glad it was what it was at the end of the day. And then he said Lacey went from sassy Southern Belle to slutty Southern Belle. And then he liked one of our comparisons. But
Epstein Ho of Hosberg.
Yeah. I don't think that any match with Charlotte Flair should end with someone being called a hooker and them not disagreeing, to be completely honest.
What's the end game with Ric Flair? I know last week apparently it was a mistake that he hooked Charlotte's leg or whatever, so maybe this is just they're capitalizing on it from here. Referee totally out of position with the feet under the ropes, but story for another day. But just looking at he held the leg, he tripped her, and Ric Flair tripped Charlotte and then held her foot down for the 3 count. I mean, for me, where I see this going, I think they're gonna face off at the Royal Rumble, or maybe they'll face off in the Rumble itself, like one of those, moments where everyone's like, oh. But where Ric Flair kind of fits into all of this, I'm hoping it's a turn where he was faking it and he's always with Charlotte the whole time. I mean, I don't know if that's overplayed, but like, where do we think Ric Flair is in all this?
That's a really good point. What's your fucking end game, dude?
Yeah, I've heard some other
Rick
podcasts ask the same thing because it's like, yeah, it's her father, so what's gonna happen?
Yeah, and then Charlotte even said it. You think you're the first woman to bang out my dad in front of me? I mean, she said it slightly different, but that's the mood of it. She's all like, I've seen my dad bang all my friends. So, and you're kind of like, well, where the fuck do we go from here then?
Why do we care?
Yeah. Why do I care then? Look, my dad's always banged my friends. It's just been a thing. So, it is what it is. I'm going to kick your ass.
I just eat my Wheaties, move slightly over the kitchen table because you guys are still going at it. It's okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a good point. Why do we care and where is it going? Because I don't see an end game now that you bring it up. Although no one's ever accused Ric Flair of not having a good finish.
You know what? I'm back in.
Just in time says, Lacey never has drawn any interest from me no matter what character she's been, and I have my reasons to not like Charlotte. So it was an easily skip-worthy match for me. I don't disagree with that. I've said a lot of times about my lack of interest in Charlotte Flair and anything she's doing. But I do have an interest in how is Lacey growing as a wrestler because we have seen her from her start. And I did think she showed a great amount of improvement, and that's why I was paying attention to this one. But I agree. Apart from all that, this whole storyline seems rather throwaway. But it's got people talking, and we thought we would break it down a little bit. Is there anything you guys think we missed? Because I really feel like we hit it.
I think we're.
All right, let's keep it going. Jeff Hardy against Jackson Riker, and then ultimately against Elias. I don't have a lot to say about this other than that both matches I thought were good for what they were doing. Like we talked about before, if you're going to reintroduce Jackson Riker, him being second to Elias is a good way to do it. They're having him be a little bit more. He's strong but sheepish at the same time. Well, you told me not to help, so I didn't. I thought it was good for all people involved, to be honest. I don't know if I have much else to say about it.
Same. I kind of don't want to spend time talking about it.
Yeah.
That's just.
Did you have any complaints about it, Graham? Are you happy with what they're doing with everybody so far?
I'm good to go there. I like Raw though tonight. Real quick, just looking at 3 of the matches that I will call amoeba matches, if you will, where you had the Hurt Business. What was it? You had the Elias or Jackson Riker and Jeff Hardy fought for a minute, and then it morphed into a new match with Elias and Jeff Hardy. And then you had, we'll talk about the Sheamus and Keith match.
Yeah.
And then how they turned to a tag into a singles. And then the Hurt Business and Riddle, it was Lashley, and then it was MVP. So kind of like they did a little hookups, like additional matches in matches this time around. But outside of that, though, no, nothing really of note.
Yeah, okay. So it's just another one of those things. And so that brings us to Sheamus and Keith Lee defeating John Morrison and The Miz, and then having a fight amongst each other. I thought, so ultimately, I do think the Sheamus versus Keith Lee was a really good match. And I actually do like where they went with it, because I do feel like I've been saying for weeks that Sheamus feels like a dude who's pissed that he can't go to the bar and get into fights anymore. So now he's bringing fights to the ring, because he can't just go fight people at bars. He seems like the type of dude where if you want to be his friend, he's probably going to punch you in the mouth and see what you do about it. And then if you punch him back, he's going to punch you back again. And then at the end of the day, you guys are probably going to punch each other till you're both laying down, laughing, and having another drink. Like, he seems like that type, and he's working that character so well.
To the point where they hugged at the end.
Yes.
They're like, all right, it was a good round.
100%. I think it opens up to a lot of great story between Keith Lee and Sheamus, to be quite honest.
Also, the rocket fuel continuously is poured into Keith Lee's rocket on his back. You had the great showing by Lee. He got both pinfalls in both matches. Oh, I'm sorry, no. Well, actually, Sheamus tagged in, almost went for the finish and got it in the tag match. But the fact that Keith Lee was the only wrestler to interact with Triple H prior to Triple H going out against Orton, Lee's like, hey, I'll do a third match tonight. I'll take on Orton. I'll take this for you. Like, the fact that he was at that level of, I could be the guy for you, like, for just thinking about NXT, but, like, just the fact that they put him in that position with Triple H, like, hey, I'll take this. I mean, that also just continuously elevates Lee to the next level.
Yes.
Grim, what are you talking about? They buried him. He's useless and wasted on the main roster. Everyone's been saying that. He's completely wasted and buried, and he'll never be good again.
Bro, back in his glory, okay? There you go.
I agree 100%. And I think it's a huge showing of the wrestling fans think they know it all. They think they know that the right way to do it. And they think that this is my favorite, therefore he goes to World Championship immediately. And they don't understand the Kofi story is not good if Kofi doesn't not get the title for 11 years. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, you shouldn't. I'm not saying they booked 11 years out. I'm not saying that at all. But they also didn't book out the streak. The streak was like 17 in before they said, do you realize Undertaker's never lost at a Mania? And everyone went, what? And then they're like, well, we could probably do something amazing with this. And that's what they did, is they did something amazing with it. You can't just say my favorite, therefore championship. You know what I mean? And I do think that someone like Keith Lee is a great example of clearly he connects with fans in NXT. Let's bring him to the main roster and build him again. Because it wasn't that he just showed up in NXT and was suddenly everyone's favorite. He got built in NXT. Well, guess what? Raw is different than NXT, so we got to build him again. But as an NXT fan, you should feel good and hopeful knowing that it's possible and seeing these little bits where he comes out, he's interacting with Triple H, he's kicking the shit out of Sheamus, kicks the shit out of Miz and Morrison. That motherfucker beat several world champions in one night, then goes to another world champion and says, I'll take on the other world champion who's about to fight you. That dude's in world championship conversations, whether you like it or not, and you're not even paying attention. You know what I mean?
There you go.
I am going to say this. TW Takes Bishop is in the chat. Guys, we did not do it at the front of the show because I didn't see him. I want to do it now. Takes, you're here, you're watching. Anybody who wants to watch along or drink along, twitch.tv/wrestling on the rocks. We're going to give a big old birthday shout out and cheers to Bishop from TW Takes, friend of the show. We're going to do a watch along with him at Royal Rumble. Guys, cheers and happy birthday to Bishop from TW Takes Podcast.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I think his birthday was yesterday, but still, it counts because we're live now.
I rescind it.
Yeah, I'm taking it back. That's what I had to say about Keith Lee. Anything from somebody else?
Keith Lee's money.
Good. Money. Drew responds to Goldberg's challenge.
He went from Goldberg to Bill to Billy.
Mm-hmm.
He went down the rungs as he was, because I think the message was as he was talking about it more and more about the match, he was like, wait a minute, you're Bill Goldberg, you're Goldberg, da 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 da. And as he's talking, he's like, wait a minute, like he actually in that promo was saying he compared himself to Bill Goldberg in his prime. He said, would you want to face you in your prime? Like McIntyre is saying that I'm as explosive as you were 20 years ago. So
Except he's not.
But that's the message, you gotta roll. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I will say this, Goldberg in his prime would have fucking destroyed Drew McIntyre in his prime.
Yes.
I 100% agree. 100% agree.
You're like, no, yes.
It was kind of like this, because we're going through like what the message was supposed to be, right? That's what was supposed to be conveyed. But bottom line is no. That would have been a spear jackhammer match.
Yeah.
3 minutes.
Yeah. No way. And here's the deal. I cannot wait. And I know GR Lunar's not in the chat because he's a piece of shit. He's goofing off on Twitter right now. I see you, Lunar. I cannot wait for Goldberg to win that title off of Drew McIntyre and watch the whole world melt. I'm going to fucking love it. when Goldberg is our new world champion. The other thing that's so stupid,
I don't know, man.
fucking McInfart is out there and he's like, the one title that's eluded you your whole career. No! It's never eluded him. He's literally snatched up every fucking title he's ever wanted. He's never given a shit about that title because that title was always less than him. He just wants it because you have it because you're a dick. Because you're Drew McInfart and he's Goldberg. Goldberg! Goldberg! It's happening, guys. It is happening.
You're killing Greg. He's dying.
Is he?
I am. Wow.
Cannot fucking wait, dude. I can't wait. And Grim knows because he's a shill too for not saying. And we put him over on this podcast an awful lot, and I try to hold back a little bit. But I'll say this right now: fucking Goldberg beats Drew McIntyre at Rumble and takes that title. I can't wait for the reaction episode from Sam where he just fucking melts down. Sam Roberts from Not Sam Wrestling.
Yeah.
He would have a meltdown, dude. You'd have it live because he always records right after the pay-per-view. He would come on like all sad and he'd have eyeliner on and something. And he'd be all like, fuck. How do we get out of this? And he would book something where Adam Cole beats Goldberg, but it would never happen. I can't.
I support
Yeah.
that. I mean, if you're gonna get the fucking belt to Goldberg, yeah, I'm cool.
Hell yeah.
all
I
of
can't
them?
wait for Goldberg champion to take that title all the way to WrestleMania.
You picked the smallest dude. Adam Cole.
Dude, Sam Roberts loves Adam Cole. Grim,
I'm sure he's
What
nice.
do you think?
I don't see the value in Goldberg holding on to the championship for 2.5 months like he's done before, when he just ripped open Kevin Owens and then lost it to Lesnar a couple of months after that. So,
dude, that
I
made Lesnar. Lesnar was nobody until then.
Oh, right. Well, in a wrestling canon, he was made after beating The Undertaker at WrestleMania 30. But, you know, because that
Secondly,
odyssey...
to beating Goldberg.
Right. That added another rocket to his back. Like, just looking at that, though, I mean, there is no... Yes, I know what you're saying. If he wins, the whole world blows up. It'll be funny. See the chaos. I'm with you on that. But just logically speaking, that to pull the rug out from Drew for 2 months, because Goldberg's not going to work a full schedule. He logically think about it. I don't mind Goldberg being a notch in Drew's belt. Like, if that's how they're going to do this, although you have the name of Goldberg, do you cash out the name of Goldberg to help Drew McIntyre go up to the next level, whether you like him or not? Just, all right, let's cash in the Goldberg chips. Keep going up with Drew kind of deal.
Yeah, no, Goldberg wins, and Dolph Ziggler takes the title off Goldberg at Mania.
Or, okay, wait. As crazy as this sounds, because we're talking about crazy theories.
Crazy.
How about the Miz sneaks in?
Ah!
I said it! That's how they get out of it.
Curl, thank you for coming through. He said, totally not late to hear you guys talk. Undefeated as challenger since 2016, Goldberg. That's true. Anytime he's challenged, he wins. The idea of Miz taking that title, and cheers, Kiro, for coming through. We always love when you come through, man. And we got to play some more games for you. I know he likes to come through when producers playing like Tomb Raider and stuff, so we got to get more of that going. But, fuck, I guess you could have Miz come in there and fuck up everything. You know what? And that'll get heat from me. I think they get heat from everybody. Because there's people who want to watch the world burn and want to see McIntyre win.
Just in time saying, I don't
Yeah.
know what's
Wait.
worse than Goldberg or The Miz.
Drew McIntyre
Just in
winning?
time just in
Drew
time to
McIntyre
said, I
winning's
don't
gonna
know.
burn the war. Sorry, my bad. Go ahead.
Yes! Yeah, McIntyre holding on to that title another goddamn
That will
day.
burn the world down. Okay.
You're not
Just following
listening,
along
Graham.
here.
Justin says, I don't know what's worse, Goldberg or The Miz. Kuro says, Miz needs a title, and Pierce needs a title. Fuck yeah, dude. Dude, if we walk out a Rumble with Adam Pierce and Miz as champions, fuck, Mania's gonna be blasting. TW Take says Miz beating Goldberg is not a terrible wrestling take. And then Liam Moonlight, Final Fantasy 14 for producer. Oh, could look into that for you. And then Fabtina says, am I the only one who likes The Miz?
I like The Miz.
As solo only, yeah,
Yeah,
without
Clump.
Morrison. Clump.
Yo.
Clump. There's been a lot of yelling going on. Where are
Oh.
you at? Where do you fall here, Clump? Are you on the right side of history, or are you back in Drew McIntyre?
Okay, so here's my idea.
Go ahead, let's do it.
Miz cashes in. Then scaffolding falls. Doesn't kill anyone, but scares them all enough and puts the fear of the Lord into everyone there that they take the belt off of him, and then a beacon of light goes through and it shines down on Sami Zayn and they just give it to him.
Just hand the title to Sami Zayn. Just say, look,
Yeah,
dude,
I
you don't
just-
know what we're doing.
Yeah, we're okay. We get it. We're fucking up. Who else?
I mean, I'm not against the Sami Zayn run, but I'll tell you, Goldberg. I don't know how you can vote against Goldberg. I don't know anybody who's ever done it.
Well, Clump is actually going for a God heel turn.
Mhm.
Because remember, the beam of light, God was Shawn Michaels' tag partner against the McMahons back in 05. So that beam of light comes back, turns heel. God turns heel and gives Sami Zayn the WWE Championship. I mean, that and Goldberg, that's in there somewhere. I'm just saying.
That's a good point. You could still do both, I think, the same night. Curl brings up a good point. Clump just wants everyone to be crushed by scaffolding. That's true. You were a big fan when Braun Strowman pulled all that scaffolding down onto Kane and Brock Lesnar. That might have been the last time we saw Kane, actually, now that I think about it. Except for Undertaker's thing where he showed up in a suit. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I don't know where we go with this, but if we end up with an Adam Pearce champion, Miz champion, and Goldberg champion, they can all share it. I'm okay with that. Goldberg. Dude, I love the idea of Goldberg beating the shit out of Drew McIntyre. It's the only way we make things right. Dude, I had a perfect fantasy booking for Goldberg winning, and I can't even remember what it was anymore. I should look at my GR Lunar DMs, because that's where we do the best fantasy booking for Goldberg, because no one loves Goldberg like Lunar loves Goldberg. That is a fact.
Biggie. Oh shit. Okay, I got the best idea. Now,
All right, go for
this would involve a pre-WrestleMania brand split and moving people around. Big E, Goldberg is the champion. WrestleMania. Oh. Goldberg wins it. Big E wins the Rumble. Big E just slide. Just slides in behind Goldberg as he's cutting a promo, and just the smile. Guys, I'm okay with Goldberg winning. I have picked
Wow.
This is the only
Dude.
timeline where it works.
That is such a good timeline. If
Wow.
Big E wins the Rumble and Goldberg takes the title off of Drew McIntyre, a.k.a. Ralph Wiggum, we
Ralphie,
could
get up
get
the
Big
swinging
E
stage,
versus
sweetheart.
Goldberg for a title at Mania. That's the
Yes.
dream match right there.
Hell yes.
That
And
is amazing.
and you could still have the, like, is it serious Big E or silly Big E? And I think it'd be great promos between them, because it could be like him making the joke and him showing a little bit of the silliness that he throws out there, but him being like, you know, I made jokes for years about my dream match would be with you.
Yeah,
You know what?
100%.
It's coming up in front of me, and just be different.
Yeah,
guy.
I can't say no. Yeah, I can't say
yeah.
no to this. Are you telling me? That's amazing. The one I had, I found it. I said Keith Lee takes the title off of Goldberg, but Miz cashes in on Keith Lee to take it off of during that match. So Keith Lee doesn't even get to hold the title for longer than like 10 minutes or some shit.
Dude,
or
don't make me cry.
seconds. And then I would say, but then Keith Lee would become the biggest face on earth, and Miz would become would have the most hate he'd ever had, because he would have stolen the title from Keith Lee, which is what everybody wanted, in a match where he took the title off of Goldberg, which is what everybody would have wanted. So I believe that would be a good thing. But if you put Big E in place of Keith Lee, that still works incredibly, and you get the Keith Lee, or not the Keith Lee, but the Big E and Goldberg match. That's incredible. And Lunar doesn't accept any timeline where Goldberg's not the champion, he says. And Kuro says, Drew McIntyre, a.k.a. Ralph Wiggum, a.k.a. Raid Show Legends permanent sponsor. That's funny. Or Raid Shadow Legends. I think that's it. I think that's how you do it, man. Go ahead, Grim.
Well, speaking of people that need a, kind of an identity as a singles wrestler, we're looking at Xavier Woods. Our next match, Woods versus T-Bar.
Yeah.
We got all the Retribution, and you heard Ali say, Xavier, where is your family? Boom. Set the whole matchup right there. Xavier Woods all on his own.
100%. And he loses here, which is fine because he'll get another win back later on. Also, Retribution's been needing to look strong. They haven't lost in SummerSlam or Survivor Series, and that's not lost on me. I think that Retribution is the right team to be going over right now. And I do think that it sets up Xavier Woods to have a hell of a comeuppance. You know what I mean? Like, I do think we're in a good spot for that. And I agree. Xavier Woods needs to identify himself as a singles during this time. And I think he absolutely could.
Yeah.
I like it. I like what I'm seeing there, to be honest. I mean, I can't root for someone to win when they never lose. And Xavier Woods losing here was the first step in the underdog story, which will be Xavier Woods. You know what I mean?
Yes. I think he fits that story very well. I mean,
yes.
I think he's maybe the least appreciated member of the New Day. Because he has maybe but he does so much, so it's weird to say that. So, but let's see. And I think him getting knocked back a little bit would be fucking great for him,
dude. And here's the deal: is no one talks about how fucking smooth he is in the ring.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every time I watch him, everything he does, I'm always like, ooh, dude's on a dime. Even the Go ahead.
He doesn't have power moves. I think that's what it is. He doesn't have those moves that you're like, oh fuck. But he is so clean, so smooth. He makes everyone look good. I mean, the match he had with T-Bar, Dijakovic ain't bad, and I will not. Yeah. He gets one calling of his weird name per show from me, but Xavier made him look fantastic because he is that smooth. He's he's a Bret Hart. He's an execution guy. He's a selling guy. He makes you look good, and that's great. So if there's a way to highlight that, hell yeah.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing is I would say that Xavier Woods doesn't have power moves, but he does have what I think of as like oomph moves, which he puts a lot of power in his movement. So it's not just like Rey Mysterio 619 just looks like a really quick kick to the face. There's not a lot of oomph behind it, but it's a nice stiff kick to the face, right? I feel like that when Xavier Woods does fast moving stuff, it feels like his entire weight is in it just to put that extra oomph on the back of it. You know what I mean? And he looks small. He's a big dude in his own way. When I met him in person, I believe I'm taller than him, but his arms were fucking jacked. That dude looked like he was fucking made of grapes.
He's thick.
So big.
Which is kind of crazy when you think about the fact that he was gone for so long.
Yeah.
And he came back like without missing a beat.
No. Yeah, you'd swear he'd been wrestling every day of his life. And you're like, I haven't wrestled in 7 months. You're like, get the fuck out of here. What are you talking about? What are you, stupid? Of course you have been. Look how good you are. He's just so smooth and effortless in there, but it's not effortless, and I know that. Like the way that he ducks stuff and slides, I don't know. Dude,
I like it.
I'm excited to see a singles run by Xavier Woods because I'm excited for people to start really seeing that shit. Can you imagine Woods versus Ricochet?
That would be a really interesting clash of styles, but I think it'll work perfectly because they are so smooth together,
Well, and these are two dudes who move in ways that are the most natural ways. No movement doesn't make sense with either one of those two dudes. That's what I says put Ricochet. I've always been saying puts Ricochet in a different level to me than like an Ospreay. Ospreay looks like he's doing gymnastics and working hard to get to the spot he wants to be in, whereas Ricochet looks like that's just where his body went because that's where it had to go. You know what I mean? Like he comes off supernatural. And I'm not saying that I haven't seen every Ospreay match. I'm not trying to just shit on Ospreay. The stuff I've seen has seemed overly to me that way. Whereas Ricochet, you can't find a clip of him looking like he wasn't doing the best thing for himself in the match to win, to do a hit that also wasn't momentum. You know what I mean?
Right.
He doesn't backtrack momentum. Let's see real quick in the chat. GR Lunar says Big E wins the Rumble, takes IC belt with him to WrestleMania, wins championship. We are now NJPW. I'm okay with that. Kuro says, what if Xavier Woods says screw it and joins the Hurt Business? We're talking about. Lunar says he could see Xavier feuding against them. And if Xavier Woods is feuding against Hurt Business, you now have built-in team member with Ricochet to maybe... I don't know. Fabtina, though, does say he's too tied to the New Day, so I can't see him joining any other group. And Kuro says, also, you guys can rule out Lesnar returning in any of your thoughts. I don't understand contracts, Kuro, so I refuse to take that into consideration. TW says, Bishop says, Woods is less powerful than Big E, less athletic than Kofi, better at putting both together than both of them. If you listen to their podcast, there was one time, or I don't know where I heard it, but maybe it was on Twitter. Someone had pointed out the Triforce of Zelda. It was wisdom, strength, and what's the other one?
I think it's courage.
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 Couragulence. And someone had pointed out that the three of them create the Triforce, and Woods said something along the lines of, we didn't think anyone would pick it up. Xavier Woods is the courage. You do have... Or was he the wisdom? God, I gotta look up the Triforce. Hold on. I'm fucking up.
I'm looking it
Oh,
up.
man. You got to remember your Ocarina of Time, man.
I never played
That's
Zelda
OG.
after original Nintendo. It's courage, right? But it's courage, strength, and wisdom. So strength was obviously Big E. And then you had so strength, Big E, wisdom, and courage. Courage was Kofi because of how athletic and crazy he is, and wisdom was Xavier Woods with his well spoken and clear like, I mean, you know what I'm saying. Fuck. I need whiskey. So, but they said that wasn't like a complete accident. Yeah, Kofi is the courage. It takes courage to be that crazy, be that wild, do those things. And Xavier Woods is relatively, grounded in that wisdom. All that to say, I'm excited to see Xavier Woods on a singles run. Let's see, in the chat real quick, we did have another cheers coming through with Justin. Cheers. Thank you so much for the bits. We are not great at Twitch. We've only been doing episode 1 for almost 2 years. We're coming up on 2 years here. 2 years and 3 months. So WrestleMania will be our 2-year mark. So we're not great at it. We know the bits mean something, and we like what they mean. We just don't get it. So cheers to Justin for being our new number 1 and coming through with the bits. Mm-hmm. Lunar says we don't talk about contracts here, and Courage is the other one. Kuro says, from asking him personally less than a week ago, I can tell you guys Lesnar's done with wrestling. Well, look,
we'll see
I don't understand contracts. I don't understand contracts. Lunar says, I'd say Kofi is wisdom since he's seniority. Seniority, yes, however. And Leah says power, wisdom, and courage, yes. So I get it. Everyone knows more than me. I get it.
See, when I don't know something, I just don't talk, and that's why I've been very quiet for these few minutes.
Clump's just squeaking out a turd. All right. Let's move it along. I know that you wanted to talk about that match real quick, but the thing is Xavier Woods is so fucking good, it's hard not to just fucking gush over the dude. However, we had a United States Championship match with Bobby Lashley. Matt Riddle got his ass fucking kicked. He quit again because he's a quitter who quits when he quits matches the way that he's always quitting. And then he had a match with MVP, and he didn't win that one either, necessarily. I mean, through disqualification of him getting his ass kicked so hard that he won.
Yeah.
This was a weird showing for Riddle. I'm going to be honest. I did not expect them to just beat the shit out of him for fucking 40 minutes.
Who did he piss off?
Yeah.
Like, this felt like... This felt like when we talk about, like, okay, he's being buried. This... I have a hard time not arguing it. Yeah, who'd you piss off? Like, what did you do? What did you do wrong, champ? Because damn.
I know.
Yeah,
Like, they
some-
had Riddle tap out. Like, I'm like, are you serious? Like, the MMA, all that, like, dang. I know Lashley's a full Nelson that will pretty much rip your head off like a grape, but, like, geez. Like, I don't like the tap outs on people that are, like, MMA. Like, could you imagine Shayna Baszler tapping out to anything? Ronda tapping out to anything? It's just like, you know, that's why, you know, you pin Ronda or you pin Shayna. You don't tap them out. Like, just the aura or the persona. You got to match the finish up right.
You don't do it on free TV, or you don't do it on your TV show either. Like that's one of those ones. Like, I'm okay with you building this one up a little bit.
It's weird. It felt weird. I agree with all of that. I don't have a lot to pitch in here other than I was like, what? Really?
Yeah.
It's yeah. They just beat him. Now here's the thing too, is I heard people talking about I mean, Sam had mentioned it, the idea that last week Matt Riddle had outsmarted everyone and had tapped out as a fake out. And I was like, no, that motherfucker quit. He's a quitter. And then this week I was like trying to be a dick, and I was like, let's see if he just taps out and quits like the quitter he is, this time in front of the ref where they can see him quit like he always quits. And then he did, and I was like, ah! Like, what happened?
That's what happens when your shit talking bites you in the ass.
I know. I was like, I was just kidding, and you were serious.
I
That's
think
what
the
it
rule
felt
is
like when I was
5
watching.
quits. The rule is 5 quits in a row. It happens.
Yeah.
That's what you did. Yeah.
That's what happened. Sometimes I just talk shit to rile people up. I'm like, I'm going to say some dumb shit. And then it happens. I'm like, no, I didn't mean it.
This is all your fault.
Yeah. Kiro says he lives less than 45 minutes away from Brock Lesnar.
So you're his neighbor, because doesn't he live in?
He's 45 minutes away from everything, I think.
Yeah.
So yes. Yeah, thank you for hosting, Kiro. Cheers for hosting us. I appreciate it every time you come through. Tell him I said what's up. See if he remembers me. Let's see which one's Zelda, the green one. Someone bonked him. Thank you for hosting, bonked. Matt Riddle needs more bro nuts. It's true. Justin Time says Matt Riddle has been turned into a complete geek. He had to have been high thinking that beating MVP after the way he got decimated was a good compensation, which is also true. And Kuro again says more bro nuts for Matt Riddle. Yeah, I don't have a lot there. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
But
Now
Matt Riddle has pissed someone off. He tapped out, got his ass kicked by MVP, and then just got beat up so bad that the ref was just like, forget it. Let's all just go home. And that was that. Let's see. AJ Styles and Drew Gulak. What do you guys think about Drew Gulak trying to get himself into the Royal Rumble and Adam Pearce saying, shut the fuck up, idiot?
Yeah.
This
That's what
was
it
my
felt like.
point earlier about, do I need to declare or do I need to have a match to get in? So when Pierce was saying to Gulak, oh, well, we only have 30 spots, yet literally Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke said, we declare that we're in the Women's Royal Rumble. Like, just, like, the declare rule, I understand main eventers, former champions, they can magically declare to be in it. But, you know, and then randomly we'll see qualifying matches once every 5 years maybe. But that just, like, I don't know. Like, Gulak, you're not even on the level of anybody else, so you're not allowed in the Rumble. That's essentially what Pierce said.
Yeah. Gulak, get your head out of your ass. I wish
Right.
Adam had just said that. It'd been so funny.
I wish he walked out and just clapped and said, like, and just walked away, like
Now,
upset
here's the
dad.
deal. Yeah, just Now here's the deal. I do think that there is a suspension of disbelief that I can personally buy into where someone only declares once they've gotten the approval, right? So I'm not going to announce that I'm a guest on some show if I haven't locked in a time frame for it. I'm not going to announce that I'm going to be somewhere that it's not locked in. So I think that I can suspend disbelief enough to say, well, they only declare because they've cleared it with the office already, right? Dana and Mandy have already asked Adam Pearce and said, absolutely, you can be in the Royal Rumble. Why wouldn't you be? And then that's when they declare. I don't know that I personally believe that the declaration is independent of the company knowing. I don't know that I even would believe that if you told me, well, when AJ Styles declared, that's the first anyone in the company had heard of it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sounds like a contract thing.
It might be a contract thing.
Yeah. But anyway. But in terms of the match, though, surprise, Gulak, no entrance, done. Not that he was going to be Styles anyway, but the fact there was no entrance, forget it. See ya.
Forget it. No entrance. You're done for. I do want to say one thing, just because we have a lot more people in the chat right now than we had earlier. Guys, if you guys want to win a free T-shirt from us, you get to pick the design, but it comes out of our shirts. We're not going to send you a fucking shirt from someone else. But if you message Kevlar on the Rocks at Twitter or message the Facebook page directly, you just let him know that you want to enter in the Royal Rumble raffle. He will assign you 2 numbers. And you will, if your number is the entrant that wins the Royal Rumble, we will send you a free T-shirt. And if you watch along on TW Takes Podcast, where we'll be watching, that's where we're going to announce the winner as well. We'll announce it again after the fact on our show a couple days later. But if you want to catch it live in the moment during the Rumble, you can watch that at TW Takes Podcast. So, guys, message Kevlar on the Rocks with an X on Twitter, or at him, or hit him up on Facebook, and you guys can get in there. Curl's like, give me 1 in 30. He's going to do a pick. He's got one of those old bingo hall rollers he's all excited to use. So message Kevlar on the Rocks, or message Facebook Wrestling on the Rocks direct to get into that. I did think it was funny that they teased the idea of Gulak having a PowerPoint, and he goes, this is for your eyes only, and holds up a flash drive. Yeah. I was hoping we were getting something, but that was good.
Next call back.
Baron Nanigans is a piece of shit. We ignore him whenever we can.
Yep.
That is not true.
Yeah, fuck that asshole.
Yeah. We're not giving out. Yeah. Clump's like, he's the worst.
Yeah. The literal shittest.
Yeah. Let's see. Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler. Dude, what did you guys think about Mandy and Dana getting the loss there? Because I'm going to be honest, I was pretty bummed out by that.
More the story of, again, another partner blind tagging the other to get the win. Shayna tagging in behind Nia's back, and then getting. I thought Dana was going to take the tap out choke out. It was Mandy who took it. So yeah, that was weird. But I think that's furthering the story of Shayna and Nia. They're not the champions anymore. Are they going to start splitting up very soon? Are they going to turn on each other at the Rumble kind of thing? But they're planting those seeds now.
Yeah, but the thing is I don't need Dana and Mandy to look worse for you to just move along with your Shayna and Nia story, which I also don't give a shit about. I don't give 2 turds what happens with Nia Jax moving forward. It just doesn't interest me. I just don't care. She's not like most girls.
No.
Like,
most girls don't need knees. Most girls don't need knee replacements.
Well, she's got new knees. She wants to show them off. Do it. But the thing is, I'm not all that invested or interested, and I'm more invested and interested in Dana and Mandy because they're 2 strong-looking women who are on the come up. I think of them as the new like Power and Glory. But here they are just tapping out week after week to Shayna and Nia as some sort of side piece fluff around a different story. I don't need them to just be sacrificed. I don't need a couple of lambs out there. I don't need it to be them. You could do that with almost any jobber. You could do that with realistically Lacey and Peyton because they're not even a good tag team together. You know what I mean? Like they've constantly been showing that they're fighting. It'd be easy to tell that story with them without hurting them as a tag team. You're hurting Dana and Mandy as a tag team if you keep using them this way.
They're not going to lose with Ric Flair as their manager, so.
That's a good point. Ric Flair's the manager.
Lacey and Peyton, yeah.
I don't know. I guess that's all I had to say about that. Unless there's something else you guys want to throw in about that, we can go and talk about Triple H at the end.
No, good to go.
Let's do it.
All right, cool. So we had a street fight at the end. Triple H, Randy Orton. It was only like 5 or 6 minutes, but I'm going to be honest with you. I actually really liked it. I thought that was a really good way to highlight what you can still do in the ring and not highlight what's just harder for you now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was just a fucking fight and it looked good. We've seen a lot of people come back and a lot of people in multiple companies who every time you watch them, all you think is, Well, they're as good as they can be at this age. And that's not how I want to watch wrestling all the time. And I thought what Triple H did a really good job of is he goes like, dude, I'm not going in there and doing a bunch of shit. Give me 5 minutes and a fucking hammer, and me and Randy Orton will get people on the edge of their seat. And I thought they did it. I thought they did a good job. Go ahead,
Fire hammer, excuse me.
dude.
A fire hammer. He almost was about to Mario brother him. Like, you don't even know.
Dude, I was gonna go back to rewatch it, but I just did not have time today. Did he set the hammer on fire, or did it burst into flames while he was holding it?
It was in his hands underneath the camera, and then so he put the hammer under the camera, pulled it back up front in camera, and it was on fire. It was when the lights started going out. It was one of those, like, you know, cinematography, like, oh,
so good, man. So there's a reason we could believe where Triple H grabs the hammer, lifts it up, sees it on fire, and goes, I am not hanging out. Because he does disappear. But if you're holding up a hammer and you watch it burst into flames, there's every reason for you to just go, all right, well, I'm done for the night. See you later. And head out. You know, like, shit's lighting on fire in my hands? No! You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because I know people were confused why he left, but I was like, well, why would you stay? So that does lead into then the lights are flickering, the sounds are happening, and Alexa Bliss appears in the ring and then shoots a big old wad of fire right at Randy Orton's face. And I kept thinking we were going to see a new fucked up looking Fiend. But we did not. We saw Alexa Bliss shoot a gun of fire at Randy Orton's face. Clump, did you get a chance to see this? I know you were trying to squeeze it in right before the show.
I did not, yeah. But I heard about it. I was like, ooh, that sounds cool. I will watch that after. Which makes no sense.
She just Kameha's
Not like I have to
right
watch
into
it,
his
you know.
face.
Yeah.
Just Goku'd it. Boom.
I'm going to send you the GIF right now, Clump. Grim, go ahead and talk about it. Tell me what you thought.
So again, like I said, just, you know, again, just like the fireball was awesome. And I liked the way that it played out. It didn't, like, it, you know, WWE, awesome job with their camera work, like all of that. Just, you know, it came together. It didn't look campy. It didn't look like, you know, just, you know, it looked really good. The shot looked really good into Orton, and Orton just like, oh, my face, like, just, you know, going through all of that. I'm going to like how this story is going to continue to develop from here. I would be fine not seeing The Fiend for another few weeks yet, maybe the Royal Rumble. I mean, it can't go all the way to WrestleMania or Elimination Chamber. Like, I think that he has to make an appearance soon. Alexa's carrying the story along, which is awesome. But just overall, though, I mean, the fight, Triple H and Orton, no surprise they were going to be awesome. And then the transition into Alexa being in there was very good. Can't wait to see what happens next week.
I feel like every time we get to a point where Randy Orton's in an arena and the lights are flickering there in the dome, I feel like every single time I go, yes, this is the perfect time to reveal the new fucked up version of Fiend. And every time they don't, I go, ugh, it's going to be perfect next week.
I'm going to keep holding out hope.
I know. I am so on the edge of my seat to see this unveiling of whatever we get, because the way Alexa said, if he comes back, it's going to be like nothing you've seen. I keep going like, show me. So, yeah, I'm getting worked every week, and I saw it, and I was like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's happening. It's happening. And it didn't happen. I go, it's probably for the best.
Because he's been in the same Fiend mask and ring attire for over a year. The Fiend's been the Fiend, the year and a half, year plus or so. So, I mean, to get a refreshed look, I mean, his mask at first was just off the wall, awesome. I could only imagine what the next mask is going to look like.
I know. And here's the thing is, I've got no reason to believe that he didn't debut with a mask with a second one already in the works. I've got no reason to believe that this isn't a year and a half in the works. Because everything Bray does seems more thought out than literally anything else we've ever seen on TV.
Yeah.
Probably apart from Ricky Gervais, who writes out scripts for like a decade first. There's no reason I have to think that whatever Bray does next isn't going to be super well thought out and incredible. Also, it makes sense why on the WWE auction site, they were selling a few ring quality masks for The Fiend real recently. And I didn't really put two and two together, but who's to say they didn't make like 4 of them or whatever? And then realized a certain way through, it's like, well, we're moving on. I'm not even going to use these other ones. We'll just sign them and put them on the auction. We'll put them on as like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Thing you win. Yeah.
Am I out of
And that's
my mind
awesome.
Yeah. Let's see. Real quick thing in the chat. Let's catch up a little bit. Again, guys, twitch.tv/wrestling on the rocks if you want to join the chat and derail our show. Just in Time says, TW Takes and I had a fun conversation on Twitter last night. About how much we're loving this Randy Orton and The Fiend feud and how Alexa Bliss has been spectacular in this thing as well. The ending of the show was excellent. And Take says, yes, sir. That's true. Everything they're doing with Alexa, like you just said, the way they're using Alexa to float this thing through without Bray, you don't even, like, part of you doesn't realize that Bray's not even there. He hasn't been there for fucking weeks because Alexa's doing such a good job carrying it. But the anticipation is definitely there. Feptina says they really do save the best for last. I saw someone tweet something like, could we get the same thought, the same way that we approached the last 5 minutes of Raw, could we get that for the previous 3 hours? And I could appreciate the concept of that, where it's all like, you guys put so much fucking effort in that last 5 minutes. Could you just extend that for like the whole show?
Yeah. Do a little bit more.
Yeah, because there's definitely times it feels like you had brought up, there's a lot of amoeba matches in this one. Let's see. Kiro says, when is Nintendo going to partner with WWE? That's all that the main event had me thinking. Oh, because of Mario sets shit on fire. He says Royal Rumble happens. Number 30 is Randy. Randy gets in the ring. The announcer says that's everyone, and then 31 is The Fiend. Like, sure.
Why not?
Justin said, yeah, why not? Fucking yeah, let him.
Why not?
I want to see a Rumble where Fiend is not an entrant, but is the cause for the winner. I would love to see where everyone's in. The lights go out, flickers. Fiend shows up in the middle, throws out a ton of fucking people except one person, and just fucking points at them. And then fucking disappears. And that person's all like, fuck.
I would love it if
it's the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
Fiend at 29. Comes in at 29, clears the ring, and then it cuts the lights out. And it's just him there. Only the light on him. And then as it counts down, light appears like on the ramp. Counts down more, kind of flickers with it, and when it's at 0, red. Just the spot there for Randy to come out in it, and the Fiend's there staring at him, and he just lets him come to the ring, and then as he comes out, fire, just have fire kind of slowly come with Randy.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Occasionally, I'm good at this.
Yeah. I'm all right with that. Justin Time says, every week the anticipation of seeing The Fiend's new transition gets higher the more he's not on the show. 100%, man. Feptina says, I would hope that he's really taken time after losing Brody. That's true, too. The post that Bray wrote about Brody,
that was a hard one.
Throughout the day, me and producer were just reading them back and forth as everybody was saying what they were saying, and I was like, one came in through Bray. Let's read it. And I was reading it out loud, and about halfway through, I just stopped. I said, you have to read this on your own. I can't get through it. Like, it was just too much because I've recently lost some really important people in my life who felt a lot like that story that Bray was saying. So for me, it was like I just couldn't even read it out loud. So, yeah, if anybody deserves some time to process – Bray said that Brody was his Terry Gordy, and I mean, if you're into old time historical wrestling, that's you immediately just go fuck.
Yeah.
But so I mean, I guess in that regard, that's a great point. Give him time, give him all the time, and I guess it falls under that same Becky Lynch umbrella. Whenever it's ready for you, whenever you feel best. Yeah. Let's see. Part of me hopes that he pays homage to Brody in some way. I hope so too. Something in the Funhouse, perhaps, or if we do Funhouse again. And Kuro says, also, do we factor in Willow into the Fiend's return? In fact, I would love Willow and Fiend. Just in Time does say it would be like when Bray helped Matt Hardy win that WrestleMania Battle Royal, but with a more meaningful conclusion. 100%.
Yes, very good call out.
Yeah, great call out on that. I totally forgot about that. But yeah, that was a lot there. Was there anything in there that Graham, that you wanted to touch on before we do last call?
No, again, just wait till next week. I think the Fiend's coming back at the Rumble, like you were saying, Clump, in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the Fiend's road to WrestleMania. It's going to be a hell of a ride. Hang on.
Yeah, Clump, anything that you felt like we're missing?
No, I think we're good. I'm excited to see what happens. This time of year gets me pumped.
Yeah.
Do either of you think that Willow factors in? My
No.
hunch is that, yeah, that's my hunch, is that we will not see a Willow in WWE.
At this point, Jeff Hardy is the essentially the living legend, if you will. I mean, last week when he had the match with Orton, I could see a twist of fate into an RKO 100 times and never get tired of it. Like, Jeff Hardy's just that perennial guy, 20 years in the business, 20 plus years, and still is awesome. I think just leaving him as Jeff Hardy, the future Hall of Famer, all of that, we should just keep it there for now. Willow was a good character, but I don't think that's the trajectory right now for Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
I agree. I think Willow was something that was really important to him in his life. I don't think it's where he is in his life. So that's just kind of my impression, just based off his art and stuff. We're big fans of Jeff here. We support him and what he's doing. I do like what Kuro said here. He said Jeff wants Willow in WWE. He said Jeff Hardy enters at number 17, gets eliminated. The Rumble goes on. Number 28, Willow. And as Willow's in the ring, the Fiend's music plays, makes Willow go crazy and take everyone out. Maybe. I'm not saying it's impossible because I don't fucking know anything. None of us are insiders. We're all just a bunch of drunks who guess. Except no one's drunk on the show but me right now. We're all just a bunch of drinking buddies having drinks together, whether it's a seltzer, a whiskey, or heavy creamer and a shot of coffee. We are all just wildly guessing. And I don't know. If Jeff wants him in there, fuck. At this point in Jeff's career and life, whatever he wants, I want. So if he wants to do it, do it the right way. I also don't think Jeff's going to fuck around and just do it in a stupid way. So I think that'd be really cool. And I think Jeff and Fiend could be awesome together. I also think that there's so much you could do with the Fiend. Who knows? Just in Time says the closest we got to Willow in WWE was that ending in the barroom brawl with Sheamus. Yes, 100%. That's what made me wonder if that was the exclamation point on the end of Willow. Maybe that was enough Willow for Jeff Hardy in the WWE. Mm-hmm. Guys.
Okay.
Grim.
Woo!
Is there anything that we missed?
No, we overturned a lot of rocks tonight. So
Yeah.
Hey, we did awesome.
I am so happy Grim Reaper came through tonight. Guys, if you like Grim, check out his Twitter. He's never tweeting. Grim, go ahead and plug it.
My Instagram is
There
at
you go.
Abom Express. Is Abom Express, one word without the E in Express. So ABOMBXPRESS. And that's it.
That explains why you never tweet. Clump, explain why you never tweet. What's your Twitter?
I can't find my password. If there are tweets coming out, it's been hacked, and I apologize.
Send him all the dirty DMs. Once he gets in there, he's going to love it. I swear to you.
Oh, hey there.
Kuro does have one final question as we wrap up and we close up this bar. He says, do we also factor in Edge? I think that he did the return at the last Rumble. I almost think that he would either need to announce he's going in or wait till after the Rumble, just because I think that that's not a gimmick you play 2 years in a row. And I'm back again. That's just how I feel about it. However, I do want Edge in. I want him back, and I want to see him do some cool shit. Either of you have anything to say about Edge outside of what I just said?
I feel okay right now.
Feel okay, Graham?
Let's keep moving along in our timeline, see where wherever Edge drops in, he's going to be awesome. So we'll take it from there.
100%. If there's one thing we learned from Edge without a crowd and with a crowd, is that there is no slowing down Edge in general. Put a mic in front of him, put him in the ring. It doesn't matter. Edge is going to deliver on a level which we never thought possible, and we thought of the highest of him to begin with. So I say, do we factor in Edge every chance we get? It's going to be up to Edge and the company to give us that. I don't think I have a fantasy book for him other than every time I hear about him, I say, yes, more, please. Guys, come back on Thursday. We're going to be doing the review of AEW and NXT. We're going to see what they're up to this week. Thank you so much for having a drink with us this week. Thank you to Grim Reaper. Thank you to Clump, begrudgingly. And thank you to everybody who came through the chat to have a drink with us. Remember, hit up Kevlar on the Rocks with an X at Twitter to get into the raffle for the Rumble to go ahead and win a free shirt, or hit them up on Facebook directly through messaging. We are trying to get up to 30. We want to give away some shirts. We have 4 designs. You can pick, I guess one depending on, if you win both, you can have 2. So, guys, I think that's the last call. What do you think?
Let's wrap it
Let's do
up.
it.
Happy birthday one more time to Bishop at TW Takes Podcast, and happy birthday to my brother, Aaron. He's been on the show a few times. It's his birthday today, and we appreciate every time he helps out. Guys, that's the last call.
Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with wrestling on the rocks.